ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Donna Just Being Real. My channel is all about dating, love, relationships, toxic relationship advice channel. And I use trials, crime stories, and all this good stuff as teaching tools to help people to date smart and not thirsty. Alright, so we back at it again with Ham Hock Face. Yes, Ham Hock Face. So we're going to talk about him today. And we're going to focus on trial day 8 clips. So we're going to watch a little bit of trial day 8 to hear, more of the evidence or whatever. And I believe this is more of the lead detective, what he have to say. And yes, I know Friday is supposed to be the verdict. So I'm going to try to stream it when it's live in the morning. But I don't really know exactly what time. If anybody know, please put in the chat and let me know. Or if not, I'll do the recap in the evening, whatever. Just make sure you subscribe, hit the alert so you'll know about it. And also, if you need to reach out to me for coaching and dating, love, relationship, toxic relationship, you need advice on, feel free to look in the description and you can find my email address. Or if you have a viewer's request, you'll find my email address there. Or need to speak to me about something on the side, no problem. There's my email address and we'll go from there. Alright, so we're going to get into this one. But now, we're going to watch a clip. Yeah, I know I've been showing this clip, but I'm going to show it again. Let's hear what Ham Hock's sister have to say. Ham Hock's sister. Yep, let's listen to this.
Thanks for choosing Local 4 News at 10. We're now a week away from the trial for the man accused of kidnapping and killing Breasia tonight. Local 4 News brings you an exclusive sit-down interview with the suspect's sister. Nita McQuay never backed down from supporting Henry Dinkins the past 3 years. She says he didn't kill anyone. Local 4's Linda Cook has tonight's top story.
I know that my brother is innocent.
The sister of a man accused of a terrible crime maintains his innocence. 50-year-old Henry Dinkins faces charges of murder and kidnapping in the death of 10-year-old Breasia in 2020. Days before his trial is set to begin in Cedar Rapids, his sister, Nita McQuay, spoke exclusively to Local 4 News.
I don't believe that my brother would commit such a crime like that. I feel that only God knows, and the parties that were there.
McQuay speaks with her brother, who is incarcerated, about 5 days per week. Meanwhile, she and the rest of her family have struggled for about 3 years, ever since the day in July 2020 when Breasia disappeared.
I have my good days and bad days, but long as I can talk to my brother and talk to my family, I'm just fine. It has been hard.
Her faith has helped get her through the bad days.
I believe in God. I believe in faith. I also believe in what's right.
Meanwhile, she misses her brother, her only sibling.
Me and my brother always been close. We did everything together. Henry's always been an awesome brother. Always been there for me. I've always been there for him. We're like two peas in a pod.
The case is so familiar to Scott County residents that a change of venue for the trial was made to Lynn County. McQuay asked people not to judge Dinkins until all the facts are in.
Don't judge until facts are proven. No one's guilty until proven. Henry is not this monster that they portrayed him to be. He's not that. We all make mistakes in our life, and we all have done good, bad, and the ugly.
This is Linda Cook, Local 4 News.
Dinkins' trial begins next Tuesday in Lynn County.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got another clip. Yes, we have another clip. And then I'm going to get into the trial. I just want to show these little news clips. Yep. We got another one. And welcome everybody for coming here. Thank you for coming, hitting the like, and engaging. All right. It's going to be silent for just a second. Just wait a sec. Well, let me give you all some music. All right, let me play the music while I set up for the other stream. For the other video, excuse me. Oh boy. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, everybody should know about this update. I know people's contacting me to let me know about this famous letter. This guy is crazy. Are you kidding me? What? You had your chance. The judge asked if you want to get on the stand. And you could speak what you have to say. But you didn't do it, did you? He's panicking. All right, let's listen to this clip.
We are just 3 days away from the verdict in the trial of Henry Dinkins, the man accused of killing 10-year-old Breasia Terrell back in 2020. Yesterday, Dinkins wrote a letter to the judge. And News 8's Nina Burns joins us in studio with an overview on that letter. Hi, Nina.
Hi, Shelby. Dinkins' overall intent with this letter is to blame the state for alleged misconduct during the trial, stating, quote, "The state has used deception and sabotaged this whole case to fit their opinion of a theory, which I have proof if given the opportunity to show you." Dinkins claims the state didn't share evidence in the discovery with him until the day of the trial, which, if true, is a violation of Iowa Rule of Criminal Procedures. Dinkins reiterates if given the opportunity to prove this on record, he can show how the state sabotaged the case. But Dinkins never spoke a word during the trial, which is his constitutional right. But a criminal murder trial is completely on the record, begging the question, why now and not then? Tonight at 5, we'll take a deep dive into the claims Dinkins made against the
Strong and Emmanuel, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Okay, there was another clip I want to show before we get into the trial. So just listen to the music. We're gonna go there again. And they said at 5 o'clock. I didn't find the feed because I wanted to show it. What else, about this letter that he wrote. This clown. Okay, just give me a second here, ladies and gentlemen, while I find this other clip. I gotta find this clip for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. Just hang in there with me. Hang in there. I might not be able to show you. Excuse me. Might not be able to show you the clip because I can't seem to find it. This is ridiculous. I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Wait a minute. Might be finding it. I can't find it. This is ridiculous. Alright, I'm not gonna hold you no longer on this one. I can't find the clip. Maybe I'll find it later on, okay, ladies and gentlemen? Alright, we're gonna get into this other clip here. No, we're gonna get into day 8.
Only in New York can you find a studio apartment with
that had been.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to start it. We're gonna start day 8. Okay. Alright, we're gonna get into day 8. Now, day of the trial. The reason why I want to do this because it tells a little bit about the evidence. So the lead detective is on the stand. So we're gonna hear a lot what he have to say. But I just want to let everybody know is When I do recaps over here, I put on a faster speed. And if it's too much for you, what you can do is you can slow it down on your end. Just hit the settings and just slower it, speed up, whatever's comfortable for you. But I'm going to have it on speed 1.5. We're not going to watch the whole thing, just some of it. But I'm going to have it on speed 1.5. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get it. And make sure you hit the like button. Let's get it.
Authored by Detective Obert. I had inadvertently forgot to move to introduce those exhibits on Friday, so I would move to introduce those at this time.
No objection to 74. I do object to 150-2 as hearsay.
I'll overrule the objection. I believe it was the search warrant. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. They'll both be admitted.
Thank you. Detective Obert, what I'd like to do is I want to go through and watch the video clips for the activity around 53rd after the defendant had returned back to the apartment, picked up Notorious, left and came back, and then left an additional time. And then I want to do a review of the video surveillance feed from all the locations going out on Highway 61 into Clinton and back, okay? Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm showing counsel what's been marked as State's Exhibit 23. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm handing you State's Exhibit 23. Are you familiar with State's Exhibit 23?
Yes.
What is State's Exhibit 23?
It is video footage of all things that we felt were relevant to the investigation. So it's video footage from businesses that we canvassed, but then they're parsed down into smaller clips to make it more easily accessible when presenting today.
Sure.
Well said, Melvia. She can't talk to her brother, yet Breasia can't talk to anyone ever again. See how everybody's, how people is just about them pour down? What about this girl? Don't care. All she worry about is her Ham Hock brother. I mean, she's entitled to feel what she wants. That's why I want to show the other video, the other news clip. I mean, they have so much evidence stacked against you. You don't believe it? Oh well, let's get back to it.
As far as the portions that will be played, does it simply show those points in time when the defendant's vehicle was observed passing various locations?
That is correct.
All right. Now, would this include also locations down along River Drive in the area of Schmidt Road?
It does.
All right. And then have you gone through and reviewed this to determine that this accurately depicts the activity relevant to this particular investigation?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the State would move to introduce State's Exhibit 23.
Oh, no objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 23 will be admitted.
Your Honor, the State would request just to simply play those portions involving Highway 61 and going up to Clinton and around the area of 53rd, since we haven't gotten to the point of the testimony on River Drive.
You may.
Okay, thank you. Detective Obert, let's talk first of all about the Quick Start. Does the Quick Star have a different type of what do I want to call it? A different type of player that it didn't make it easy just to take that information and put it on what we're seeing 4 clips that you put on State's Exhibit 23?
That is correct. The Quick Start requires the proprietary player that comes with when you download it, so that cannot be parsed into its own smaller clip. It has to be played within the player.
Okay, all right. We'll play that here in a moment. But then let's go ahead and let's start with the video clip on Eastern, all right? Now, going back to your testimony, after the defendant left the apartment complex, what business did we see him traveling past first?
The Quick Start at East 53rd Street.
Okay, and do you recall what the time of that was?
That was at approximately 5:55 a.m.
All right, and then from there, what street does he head toward?
Eastern.
What direction does he turn on Eastern?
Northbound.
Is he captured traveling northbound on Eastern?
He is.
From what address?
That is the 6138 Judson Circle.
What is the relationship of 6138 Judson Circle to traffic?
BG, what did you say? I'm surprised he didn't use crayons. Oh my God. Sharkey? I hope I'm saying it right. If I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. The letter is available on KWQC website. It's poorly written. There's many mistakes and wouldn't pass 4th grade essay writing. I can't with y'all. All right, let's get back to it.
going either north or south on Eastern.
It captures the 6100 block of Eastern Avenue.
All right. Is that one of the neighborhoods that lies along Eastern Avenue?
It is.
And does it lie on the west or the east side of Eastern Avenue?
East side.
And then as far as the video surveillance camera, where is it physically attached to this structure so that it could pick up activity that we're going to observe?
It captures the back of the residence, which then allows for video footage to be broadcasted onto Eastern Avenue.
All right, we'll play that footage then. What's our time frame that we're going to see the vehicle traveling north on Eastern past that location?
Approximately 5:57 a.m.
Thoughts, Martin?
Oh, should have bought Dixie.
What do we see?
The Maroon Impala traveling northbound.
All right, just to reset the stage then, and we're going to go back. Based on the cellular phone activity, were we able to determine the path of travel of that vehicle when it got to the northernmost point of Eastern?
That is correct.
What was its path of travel?
Towards Veterans Memorial and then eastbound on Veterans Memorial.
All right, and Veterans Memorial runs what directions?
East-west.
Okay, then when it traveled eastbound on Veterans Memorial, based on cellular phone records, where did that vehicle travel to next?
South on Jersey Ridge Road.
All right. And then, based on testimony with the vehicle going back to the apartment complex, do we ever see it returning north?
We do.
All right. What is the relevance of the address of 5915 Woodland Avenue?
This video footage captures the 5900 block of Jersey Ridge Road.
Okay. Is this a neighborhood then that lies either to the east or the west side of Jersey Ridge?
I'd have to look at a map.
Okay. All right. But at any rate, let's go ahead and we'll play this. So the first one that we want to look at is which one?
The 559.
Okay. And what direction is it traveling at that point?
South on Jersey Ridge Road.
Would that take it back toward 53rd in the apartment complex?
That is correct.
Do we see the vehicle?
Yes, it was the Maroon Impala traveling south.
Okay. All right. And then does
B, I agree with you. I feel this way too sometimes. I reckon general population will shank him and end him fast. He needs to live out his sentence. Early death is too easy. That's how I feel sometimes too. I agree with that. Let these monsters suffer. Yeah, let them suffer. Just suffer. Suffer in jail. So he can think about it. Who said ponder his thoughts or whatever? All right, I agree with you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to it. Make sure you're hitting that like. Hit the like. All right, we'll get back to it. I'm going to still look for that other video I want to show y'all, ladies and gentlemen, before the evening is out. Resume.
Does this give you a perspective as to whether or not that residence lies on the east or the west side of Jersey?
It lies on the east side of Jersey.
Okay, now let's go back down again. Okay, what time does it come back north?
6:05 a.m.
And what are we seeing here?
The Maroon Impala traveling north.
All right. Does this activity all correspond with our cellular phone record information?
It does.
All right. The next location that the vehicle is spotted at would be at what location?
Mile marker 124.
My mod's saying something here. 72 in the house and 13 likes doesn't add up. Please hit the like button. It doesn't add up. Come on, let's get the math going. Okay, let's get the math. Add up. And Susie Q, welcome aboard to Donna Just Being Real. All right, let's get back to it. Hit the like, and share me out on your social media too. Resume.
Heading what direction?
Northbound on US 61.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. What time does it head northbound on mile marker 124?
6:11 a.m.
And then had the vehicle already passed at this point?
Yes.
Let me go back and I'll play that and I just won't talk. And let us know when we see the vehicle.
It's now traveling north
All right.
in the westmost lane.
Okay. And then what time did we capture on that same camera coming back that morning?
7:52 a.m.
Heading what direction?
South on 61.
And let us know when we see that vehicle.
The vehicle is now just heading out of scene. It was in the westmost lane stuff.
I want to go back and I want to discuss the activity there at the Quick Shop when the defendant was observed going in, making the purchases, and leaving. Detective Obert, what time did Mr. Dinkins leave that parking lot?
Approximately 3:38 a.m.
All right. Now, with him leaving the parking lot at 3:38 a.m., did you travel to see how much time it would take to get to mile marker 124?
There was a Google Maps printout or a Google Map search that I conducted to get an approximate time what it would take from that quick shop location passing mile marker 124.
Okay. As you sit here today, do you recall what that time element would have been?
Approximately 6 minutes.
Okay. Now, that being said, did you go to mile marker 124 in the middle of the night to see if you could pick up any activity passing mile marker 124?
Yes, and there was 2 vehicles that are heading north on 61 at 3:44 a.m. and 3:45 a.m. However, due to the being at nighttime, the quality of the video, you can't make out the make, model, or color of any of those vehicles.
However, could you tell if it was a sedan versus a pickup versus a semi?
I was able to deduce that it's not a semi and likely not a truck, but some sort of sedan.
Okay, so would that activity, as far as the time element, then correlate with the amount of time it would take to travel from the quick shop to mile marker 124?
It does make it possible to be the same vehicle.
All right, I'm going to go back to our first video clip at 3:44. And what direction of travel are we talking about?
Northbound on 61.
Which hotel? Somebody say which hotel?
Okay. And as far as activity that we've seen?
The vehicle's traveling northbound.
Okay, all right. Before it became...
Look at the lowlife just driving around up to no good. Just look at it. Just look at it. And the sister don't believe it, huh? Oh, well, that's her brother. She can feel whatever she want, right? I know I wouldn't support nobody in my family do some crap like what he do. I'm not supporting you. Friends, nothing. You done. Get away from me. I don't get it. So many enablers out here. Why do people... I guess because they probably like that too. I guess that's the only reason why you only support with something that's like you, right? I guess. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. Let me know. Resume.
All headlights, could you see if it was a sedan?
It's kind of hard to make out for certain.
All right, I'm going to play that just one more time and see if we can pick up on that.
The headlights kind of drowned out everything.
Certainly. All right, then let's go to the next activity within that time frame at 3:45. Again, what's the direction of travel?
Northbound on 61.
And is that the activity that we're talking about there? Oh, here we go.
Yep.
Okay.
So that one, it kind of gets dark again, which I believe makes out to be a sedan.
All right. Okay. What is our first location after the maroon Chevy Impala turns east on Highway 30 going into Clinton?
When it comes to video surveillance footage, at 6:43 a.m. passing Posh Farms or 6441 Lincoln Way.
All right. And what would be the direction of travel again?
Eastbound.
Does that take the vehicle into Clinton?
It does.
When we look at this video, where do we need to be looking out?
Up in the top left corner, the vehicle just was seen in view and is now traveling east.
Okay. For Posh Farms, does it lie on the south side of Highway 30 or the north side of Highway 30?
South side.
Okay. So would that place Posh Farms closest towards Scott County?
Yes.
Okay. And then what time is that vehicle seen traveling past Posh Farms going out west?
7:15 a.m.
And is this after the time that the vehicle has departed the Walmart?
That is correct.
Let us know when we see the activity.
You can see the vehicle from afar. Now it's going to be heading close to out of camera view now.
All right. What would be our next location that would have captured the vehicle before it gets to Walmart in Clinton?
Before it gets to Walmart in Clinton, it would be First Central Bank.
All right. And what time is it observed traveling past First Central Bank?
6:49 a.m.
Just again, circling the wagons, what is the location of First Central State Bank relative to the Walmart?
Right around the corner from Walmart. They're very close in proximity.
All right. And then when, based on video surveillance footage from Walmart, does Mr. Dinkins enter the Walmart parking lot driving that maroon Chevy Impala?
Melvia said to Cheek B, okay, I might be saying wrong, I apologize. Cheek B, they had him in protective custody since he went into custody. It's time for him to be released to general population. They are going to do Ham Hock in. Oh, he's going to be done. He's done. But, a question I have for y'all, ladies and gentlemen, that's here, and the people that's going to, watch the replay. How did he think he was going to get away with this? All right, I have questions. One, what do you think his plan was? How did he think he was going to get away with it? 2, another question is I have for y'all. I know I've been getting comments and people saying that they feel when he came back to get the son that he might have wanted to, delete son too. Do you think that he might have had that intention, but something went wrong, he didn't do it? That's a good question. But I mean, how are you going to get away with all of it? It just doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. But I know one thing. That girlfriend, she could have said something. She could have did something. There's no way my man's going to be leaving out the house and creeping out here and got this little girl over here by the... Are you kidding me? Why is she out there? First of all, when you have children in your house, you held responsible for these children. Just saying. Anybody can answer those questions. I greatly appreciate it. Resume.
Approximately 6:50 a.m.
Okay, so the feed that we're looking at is what time?
6:49.
Oh, shoot.
And that's the Impala right there,
All right.
heading eastbound.
Was it captured, do you know, on that camera at 7:10 a.m.?
Yes, that would be after it's just left Walmart.
Okay, I'm going to play that. And so what direction would it be heading on Highway 30?
West.
Stitch Fix. I'd like to thank my stylist
For sending looks that work for me.
There, the Impala's in view and now out of view.
All right. What would be our next location?
DeWitt Travel Center.
Okay. For purposes of perspective again, where is the DeWitt Travel Center located relative to Highway 61 and the exit into Clinton if you were to travel east on Highway 30?
It'd be on the north side, be on the north side of Highway 30, but it'd be the southernmost part of DeWitt.
Okay. And is that fairly close then to Highway 61?
Yes.
All right.
This one requires the player as well.
That's okay.
The name of the folder, that's the exact time that you'll see the Maroon Impala passing.
All right. Yep, that's right. All right. So let me just go ahead and I'll pick the correct player for us to be able to play this.
The timestamp on this player is approximately 4.5 to 5 minutes off real time.
All right. Hold on. No. Let me do this again. I need to pull that up. Before we play this, Detective Obert, can you give us a perspective of where we want to look to on this video?
In the top part of it, and then kind of like towards the middle. With the semi in the way right now, it blocks a decent amount of traffic, but when that one's taken out of consideration, you can see the top part of the screen is traveling vehicles on Highway 30.
Okay, and what's our time frame so that we can get our counter to the right point?
7:30:45, which makes it at approximately 7:26 a.m.
And was that our Maroon Impala there?
It's going to be coming up here shortly.
Okay, gotcha.
There it is right there.
Got it.
And then camera view.
Let's see. You ready? Okay. We're going to switch laptops here so that we can then focus on Quick Start. We need that. Okay, there we go. All right. What was our time element on this one?
5:55 a.m.
Okay. Before we play this, may the record reflect that I'm showing counsel what's been marked as State's Exhibit number 25. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Okay. I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 25.
Yolanda. He thought that he could keep pretending to not know anything. So I guess you answered my question. So you think he just thought he was just going to use the excuse that she just disappeared? We don't know what happened. She must have walked out at night. This poor girl. This should have never happened. If she was put first and protected, we wouldn't even be talking about this. Not at all. But this happens so often. As we speak, and it's happening to another child. So often. Oh, and let me get a bunch of purple hearts, because found out Breasia loves purple. That was her favorite color, was purple. So let me get some purple hearts. And I do purple hearts on my channel due to, I do it for narcissist abuse, and I do it for domestic violence. That's why I always do the purple hearts. Because honestly, purple's not my favorite color. Pink is. But I do the purple hearts because it has a meaning to it. All right, let's get back to it.
Purposes of identification. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 25?
Yes.
How do you recognize State's Exhibit 25?
DVD with a quick start video footage on it.
All right, and this is the one that has a different format that requires us to use.
Yeah, it records the player that was downloaded with the video content.
Okay. And does this then reflect the relevant activity of that maroon Chevy Impala passing by the Quick Start during the early morning hours of July 10th?
It does.
What time?
At 5:55 a.m.
Your Honor, the state would move to introduce State's Exhibit number 25.
No, no objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 25 will be admitted.
And then, Your Honor, may we go ahead and play this footage?
You may.
All right, go ahead and set the time again for me.
The maroon Impala is seen heading westbound on 53rd Street at 5:55 a.m.
Where should we be looking in this video?
In the top left corner. There's the Impala.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and take ourselves back to the day of July 10th of 20.
Clark, you said something that's so deep. Ooh, I feel like crying. This is so sad. This monster stole her virginity and her life. If he was my brother, I would be forced to disown him. I don't understand these sick people walking around here messing with children, looking at children. Why would a woman want to date a man who's a sex offender? Why would anybody want to socialize with him? Or her. You have women out here to do the same thing. I don't understand. It's a real sickness. When I see children, I look at innocence and I look at the future and I look at them as like, we need to teach them, educate them, because they are the future. But when you have these sickos walking around here, no, they see something different. Resume.
You've done the interview of Henry Dinkins, correct?
That's correct.
Your next interview would have been?
With Aisha Langford.
Then your next interview would have been?
DL.
Okay. And then, of course, during your interview of DL, we've talked about just different things that he told you. But what developed during the course of your contact with DL?
We conducted a ride with DL, myself and Detective Hamas, and that led us down to Credit Island.
All right. When you arrived to the area of Credit Island, describe what developed.
An area was pointed out where the defendant had said to walk over to. We went over there, observed fresh footprints in the mud area around Credit Island. Evidence Tech was dispatched to help process that area.
Who was our civilian crime scene technician that came to the area to process it?
That and Joe Foster.
All right. Detective Obert, I'd like for you to look at the whiteboard. Do you recognize an area that's been drawn that will be relevant to this testimony?
Yes.
Okay. You've got your pointer right there behind you. And then if you could, show us what area you were directed to by DL. Okay. For our written record, just to describe that, if you are driving on River Drive and you use that access road coming onto Credit Island, would it be located on the west or the north side of that access road?
It'd be on the west side.
All right. Describe that area for our record.
The area I'm pointing to is kind of like gravel parking lot in a way. And then what's labeled as Mississippi River is more just runoff water. Depends on the time of year and how much rainfall, how full that gets, or it can sometimes get close to being dried out. And then just south or north of that, it's overgrown foliage or sometimes just mud. Again, depends on how much runoff is in that area. And then further to the west, there's a little tree line here, and it starts getting heavily wooded.
All right. Would it be fair to say that it's heavily wooded along that runoff area on both the north and the south side?
Yes.
Of that area? All right. Did those footprints take, describe the path of travel of those footprints for us, if you could?
They were east to west.
Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I want you to come down to the board, and I want you to take this blue magic marker and just give us a general perspective of the path of travel of those footsteps. Certainly. Go ahead and take your seat. I believe we discussed this on Friday, but let's go ahead and let's talk about the surface of the location where DL indicated that Mr. Dinkins stopped and parked the maroon Chevy Impala. How would you describe that surface?
Again, it kind of depends on rainfall or the time of the year or the runoff, but that day in particular, it was pretty muddy just because of the rain that we had the day before.
Okay, and to be clear, are you talking about the area where we saw the footprints?
Yes.
All right, now where the vehicle would have pulled off to what you call that gravel area, was that muddy as well, or was there just a lot of gravel there?
It was just gravel. It's not like you're sinking into any of that portion of the ground over there.
This gives rise to another discussion that I'd like to have. Going back, when we had discussions about the maroon Chevy Impala after it had been seized, and it had been raised to have the gas tank dropped for purposes of determining the amount of gas in it, what was noted on the undercarriage of that vehicle?
There was several areas where there was mud clumped under the undercarriage.
Okay, where did you park your vehicle when you went down to the area of Credit Island that day on the trip with DL?
In that gravel lot that I explained.
Okay, did you note anything as far as your vehicle sinking down into mud or having a lot of mud collected on your tires?
No.
All right. That being said, though, was there a request made for soil samples to be collected along that area?
Near that area, yes, a request was made, and FBI agent did the collecting of those soil samples.
Who was that FBI agent?
Cameron Smith.
All right. Then I'm going to just go ahead and jump ahead to the events of July 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. That massive canvass that was conducted there along Highway 30 in Clinton, once it was determined that the child had traveled to the Walmart with his father. Were there soil samples collected out there along Highway 30?
Yes, and that was done after the test ride with DL.
All right. Were those soil samples sent in to the FBI laboratory for analysis?
They were.
All right. Now, just very simply.
Excuse me for the background noise, grass cutting. Does anyone know if the remains were still intact, and if so, was it too late to find any evidence of the blank assault? Basically, what I get from it, I don't know what day it was in the trial, but they showed some pictures. It was basically bones. There's really no too much evidence, but they did find, I guess, like the shirts or whatever, there was specks of bleach on it, you know, so there's no evidence to say that, you know, she was SA'd or anything like that. But we all know it did happen, but there's really definitely no proof, as I was watching this trial, to state that they have the evidence of his DNA, blah blah blah, that kind of thing. So sad. Poor little girl. Just imagine the fear. When she kicked her brother in that bed, she was kicking him probably for help, like wake up, but this monster was coming in touching her and gonna take her. So sad. All right, let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you aware of the results of that analysis for Credit Island and for the soil samples collected along Highway 30?
Yes.
All right. Once Breasia Terrell's remains were discovered, were there soil samples collected in the area of Kunow Implement?
There was.
Okay. And do you know who would have collected those soil samples?
FBI agent McMillan.
Were those soil samples submitted to the FBI laboratory for analysis?
It was.
Are you aware of the results of that particular analysis?
Yes.
Are the results of the analysis for soil samples at Kunow markedly different than the results of the soil samples collected from Credit Island and along Highway 30?
Objection. Calls for hearsay. Lacks foundation.
Sustained.
All right. Now, from there then, where did DL direct yourself and Detective Hammonds to next?
In regards on July 10th?
Yeah.
That was the only place that we went that day, was down by Credit Island.
Okay. How about in the area of Schmidt Road where the RV was located?
As well as the area of where the RV is.
Describe why that was an area important to the child.
Because that's where the defendant's motorhome was parked, and it said that they went there sometime that morning.
Okay. And then was there an item of evidence that the child had described, either in an interview to you or Detective Hammis, that later formed the basis for a search warrant executed by Detective Patrick Sievert of the Davenport Police Department?
Yes, DL, when he spoke with Detective Hammis, talked about a long knife being wiped down, and then that's what indicated detective to say they did see a long knife in the motorhome.
All right. So as far as the child's descriptors of going to Walmart, was that corroborated?
Yes.
The child's descriptors of there being Clorox that his father used, was that corroborated?
Yes.
The child's descriptors of having placed the battery back into the cell phone while Mr. Dinkins was in the Walmart, was that corroborated?
Yes.
The child's description of Mr. Dinkins having gone over to the area of Credit Island, was there physical evidence to corroborate that?
The footprints, yes.
Okay. And then the child's description to law enforcement about going back to that trailer and there being a large knife that was wiped down, was that corroborated?
Video footage has them there that morning, and then detectives locating a large knife on top of the microwave, yes.
Okay. What further involvement did you have with DL that day?
There was little done with DL the remainder of that day. I stayed down at Credit Island and helped search the area.
All right. Let's talk about that. How long were law enforcement officers down in the area of Credit Island on July 10th?
Till approximately 9:30 p.m.
Okay. While you were down there, was there an item of evidence, or I should say, was there an item located out there that law enforcement thought may be associated with Breasia?
Yes, sandal/flip-flop was found down in Credit Island by one of the detectives, and so we wanted to do some follow-up with that.
What was the color of the flip-flop?
I'd have to refer to the photograph that was taken.
All right. Give me a moment. You want to approach the witness?
Yes, 3 fishermen found her body.
Directing counsel to the previously introduced exhibit of 3-139 and 3-140. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
We previously introduced photographs taken by civilian crime scene technician Foster. I'd like you to look at State's exhibit 3-139 and 3-140. Do you recognize that item of evidence?
Yes.
How do you recognize that item of evidence?
It was a flip-flop found down in the area of Credit Island on July 10th.
What was the color of that flip-flop?
Pink.
Was that a descriptor that had been provided by Aisha for potential footwear the child would have been wearing when Mr. Dinkins picked her up while Ms. Langford was at work?
Yes, according to Aisha, that possibly could have been the color that the flip-flop that she had with her.
Okay. With that flip-flop being located, were steps taken to either confirm or disaffirm that this was a flip-flop that would have belonged to the child?
That is correct.
Describe.
Myself and Detective Hammis drove up to Danita Gardner's residence to make contact with Aisha Langford to show her a picture of that flip-flop to help her confirm or deny if it was, in fact, Breasia Terrell's.
How late in the evening was it?
It was approximately 9:30 p.m.
At that time, was it dark?
It was.
Where did you locate Aisha?
Just outside of the apartment complex, Danita Gardner's.
Okay. And describe then, well, let me ask you this. During that contact with Aisha Langford, were body-worn cameras being worn by yourself and or Detective Hammis?
That is correct.
All right. Did it capture her reaction when you showed her that flip-flop?
It does.
Okay. Has that segment of the body-worn camera been taken out and placed on a disc?
It has been.
Have you had a chance to review that?
Yes.
And does that accurately depict what occurred when yourself and Detective Hammis responded out to the complex where Danita Gardner lives and where you spoke with Aisha about that flip-flop?
That is correct.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the counsel was New York State's Exhibit 140? May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm handing you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 140. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 140?
Yes.
How do you recognize State's Exhibit 140?
DVD with Detective Hammis's body cam footage from July 10th of myself and her showing Aisha Langford the picture of the flip-flop.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, the State would move to introduce State's Exhibit 140.
I have no objection. Exhibit 140 will be admitted.
May I publish this, Your Honor?
You may.
set the stage for what is happening here.
That's all. Looks like we're into the same vehicle.
We can be
Make contact with the patient.
You know where we can also get some more printouts of, we got some flyers that we're about to go out and hang up. Where we could get some more? Like, printed, because my cousin, she ran out of ink.
I know Quickstar might have one of those things where you pay like a quarter or a copy or something like that, if that's something you want to look into.
So there was a flip-flop that they found down there, and we just want to make sure if it's something she would wear or not. It was hers, okay? No, I don't think that one was hers.
No. Yeah, but I know Quickstar will do that, and then tomorrow during the day, I'm sure one of those copy places.
Sure, is it all
and
over
even if you
Facebook?
talk to them and you show them, I'm sure they'll be even willing to do something.
For free, that's what I was saying.
That's what I would.
But we already, going to put them out. But that's a blessing. That's a blessing.
So
Thank you.
we're going down to the station. So with everything,
No, that's not hers.
so there's behind the scenes type stuff. Okay, we're doing search warrants. We're doing pinging the phones. Okay. Okay. But we have his mobile home down there. The FBI is down there. Everybody is working on it. Okay, it doesn't end. Okay. I know, but it's 9:31 and I haven't heard from her. There's no way.
I know. No, that's not her shoe.
No, we just had to make sure. Okay.
Yeah, but we appreciate it.
Not okay. I can't go to sleep with that. Like, what the fuck? It's 9:30 and she's nowhere. Nowhere. I can't even talk to him. What the fuck, man? She's dead. What the fuck?
Detective Obert, based on just what the child had showed you down in the area of Credit Island and where the RV was parked, was there any video canvassing that was done down in that area?
Yes.
Describe.
There were several detectives that went out and recovered video footage from businesses and residential areas. Some of them included Jack's Break and Alignment, which is near Schmidt and River Drive, as well as Perina, which is near Schmidt and Rockingham Road, Devon Self Storage, which is for in the 2000 block of West River Drive, and then Sarah Lowe's residence, which is 2358 West River Drive, was also canvassed and video footage was recovered from there.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and erase what we have on the diagram, and I'm going to have you draw the location of those various addresses so that we have some perspective of where they're located relative to the RV and Credit Island, okay? Detective Obert, would it be fair to say that we actually have some aerial maps of that area?
We do.
I think so that we can really understand the locations of everything without having to look at all of the busyness of the aerial maps. Let's just do a basic diagram, and it'll be easy just to understand the relationship of locations to one another. Now, as you draw that map, go ahead and give us an illustration for River Drive, but don't say anything, just draw it, and then give us our legend for our directions, if you could. And then, you know what, if you need me, I can hold that board out so that you can draw that.
That's fine the way it is.
Okay.
Then you want me to start marking kind of the motorhome and then where the businesses of significance would be with the video footage?
Yes, place Sarah Lowe's residence, Jack's Break and Alignment, Devon Self Storage, the Arena and also the Hy-Vee on Rockingham. So if you can incorporate Rockingham, that would be beneficial too. Detective Ober, while you're drawing the diagram, I want you to give us a perspective as well of the location of where the RV was parked before it was seized through a search warrant, relative to that red and white trailer where James Peters' canines alerted under the trailer to the odor of the volatile organic compounds.
Clark, you have a point. His girlfriend knew what was going on with her man. She said they was together for 6 years. She allowed him to take that child out of the house. She is guilty also. I agree. Because it just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. The place is small, so you see everything that's happening. You see when a person going to the bathroom. You see when a person coming up and down the stairs. You see when a person's going to the kitchen. You see the living room. Everything is right there. It's like a big, it's like a square, right? So you're going to tell me that she didn't see everything that was happening? And especially when you have kids in the house, you don't really be able to sleep too well. Because, kids is busy. They moving around and you up. And it's a small place. So not like she's in a whole nother room and the door is locked and it's closed and she knocked out. So she don't know what's happening outside. They have to pass her. I mean, everybody's seen the body cam. You have to pass the living room, past the kitchen, living room to get to the stairs. Yeah, I got it correct. To get to the stairs to leave out of there. And you gonna tell me? She knows her man. And she knows he's a sex offender. She knows how he gets down. And she probably seen him when he was sitting there looking at little Breasia, looking at her, lusting. And she didn't do anything. These are all my thoughts and opinions. But what do you think? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? I don't know. Share in the comments. Resume. That's another one too. What doesn't sit well with me is the part when the son testified of how his father was in the bedroom and Breasia while he sat with the father's girlfriend. I mean, no. Yeah, because you remember when he said that. Why is Ham Hock with this angel in the room? Your son is in the living room. Shouldn't you be chilling with your son? But you leave your son with the girlfriend. And you're going to tell me the girlfriend didn't think that was a little bit weird? Come on. It just doesn't add up. So sad. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to be very careful who you date, who you bring into your life, and especially around your children. Because I don't know why the mother was dealing with this type of dude. I don't understand why. And I don't know which one is it. Was Breasia 2 years old when she met Ham Hock? Or was it a couple of months? Because on the stand, the mother said Breasia was a couple of months when she met Ham Hock. So that lets me know whoever that father was that she had, with Breasia, he must not have been anything. And I think I heard that he was in prison or something. And then other people's leaving me messages saying that he's deceased now. So I don't know which one is the full story. But I know one thing. We don't see the father. Do we see Breasia's father? We don't see nowhere around. Then she meet this low-life Ham Hock. And when she said they was together for a year or two, I don't know which one was it. Whatever she said on the stand. Which one is it? A year or two? That's kind of quick to be over here having a baby by him. So you meet Ham Hock. You have a 2-month-old baby, couple of months. You meet Ham Hock. You start dating him. Have his baby. You know, it's just a mess. This whole thing is just a hot mess. It really is. And it's so sad. You know, we have to date smart and not thirsty. Be careful who you choose to lay down with, who you choose to have a relationship with, who you choose to have children with. But some people don't care. They just see a man. They just so happy to have a man. Some men just so happy to get some cookies. So you just get crazy, get caught up in a lust. So sad. All right, let's get back to it. Now, Sharkay, you have a point. Said police failed. But let's think about this. What do you think? Just share your thoughts. They called the cops over there. Ham Hock, I don't know nothing. I don't got no number. I don't know where my address is. I don't know nothing. The mother, do you have any pictures? I don't have no pictures on the phone, but there's a bunch of TikTok videos. But let's not get into that one. I don't have a picture on my phone. Then she throws her hands up in the air and walks away. So what can a cop do? Like he just said, what am I supposed to do? You don't have an address. You don't have a telephone number. You don't have pictures. Where am I supposed to start at? He even asked when he left out the apartment, right, with the girlfriend. What did he ask Andrea? Are you going to help me look? Ham Hock was gone. He done ghosted and disappeared. So you leave an officer stranded. Like, what am I supposed to do? Ridiculous. All right, let's get back to it. And everybody, make sure you put down where you from. Put down where you from. I like to know. If you're here, out the country, whatever, I don't know. Just put down where you from. Resume.
All right. Given the diagram that you've drawn, for purposes of our written record, north is located where on that diagram?
On the top.
South?
On the bottom.
If you're looking at it to your right?
East.
And to your left?
West.
All right, show us where River Drive is located at. And River Drive, of course, runs what directions?
East-west.
Credit Island, where is it located relative to River Drive?
South.
All right, and then show us Credit Island. Now, if you were to drive out of Credit Island, is there, can you cross River Drive and will there be a street right there?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yes. So let's say I'm going to leave Credit Island. Can you just simply cross River Drive and continue on a paved street?
No.
I'll do this then. Is there a bait shop?
There is.
Show us where the bait shop's located. All right. And then Sarah Lowe's residence, where is it relative to the entryway of Credit Island? If you're there getting ready to come off and you're facing toward the north.
It's going to be to the west.
All right. How many houses down from the bait shop would Sarah Lowe's residence be located?
I believe there's 3 or 4 that separate the two.
What is the, where was her video camera fixed to?
The corner of the house.
And then give us the perspective of that camera as far as capturing any activity going on or off the island. Okay. For our written record, what have you...
Yolanda, so many red flags overlooked by the adults that failed this baby. There's so many red flags in this whole trial. Everything from the beginning. Red flags. See, my channel is all about, dating, love, relationships, toxic relationship advice channel. And I use trials, I use crime stories, articles, whatever, and then I give my advice on things, right? And give dating and relationship advice, because the problem is with people, and a lot of people, I've been there, we kind of date a little thirsty and not smart. We have to realize when you listen to that gut feeling when something is wrong. Why are you dating a guy who just came out of prison and then you're going to bring him in your home around your children? Are you kidding me? And then I feel sorry for the fathers that, excuse me, that's not with her no more. And he got this lose a guy around his kids. And he can't do anything. His hands is tied. But then he gets a phone call that your children is. And he was warning her, telling her, look, I don't mind you having some dude. You dating. You do you. I just don't trust this guy. I don't want him around the kids. It's something about him. Guys can pick up on another guy's a little, something's not right. But she don't want to listen. Don't tell me what to do. I'm going to have me a man. I'm going to do me. So sad. Reason.
Indicated.
The general camera direction of what it would capture.
Tell us what that means for our written record. If somebody were to read the written record, they don't know what that is.
The camera faces to the southeast.
Okay.
And covers River Drive and then a portion of the entrance of Credit Island.
All right. Now let's go east on River Drive. If you're traveling east on River Drive, what would you say the distance is from the entryway to Credit Island to Schmidt Road?
Like we discussed on Friday, it's approximately 400 meters.
Sure. All right. Schmidt Road then, if you turn onto Schmidt Road, what direction would you be heading?
North.
Okay. Schmidt Road runs what directions, very simply?
North-south.
And then all of the businesses that we're going to be talking about, does it lie on the east side or the west side of Schmidt Road?
They're all on the east side.
All right. At the corner of River and Schmidt, what's our first business?
Jack's Break Alignment.
Where were the cameras or a camera affixed that would capture activity we're going to be discussing?
There's several on them, but the ones that we will be discussing cover Schmidt Road.
Okay, all right. And then just show us so that we've got a perspective. All right. Now, if you've turned onto Schmidt Road heading north, what is the next location of relevance to our discussion?
743 Schmidt Road, which is the lot where the defendant's motorhome was parked.
Describe this lot. What's it used for?
Looks like storage for other vehicles. I know on the day of July 10th, not too far from the defendant's motorhome was like a party bus, and then there's several other vehicles there. There's one other motorhome, and then there was the trailer that you mentioned where the cadaver dog alerted.
All right. On this diagram, have you shown us a general location where Mr. Dinkins' RV was parked?
Yes.
Where is that on the diagram?
It's labeled the triangle, and it's almost in the center of that lot.
Where was that red and white trailer where the cadaver dogs alerted when deployed by Jim Peters?
It was to the northeast of that trailer. I'd approximate it to maybe 25 to 30 yards away from the defendant's motorhome.
All right. With the winds then blowing in a southwest direction, would that have placed that vehicle in a location, I guess, further from that? If you're blowing the southwest direction, would the winds be blowing toward the area of that mobile home?
For the most part, yeah.
All right. Now, where is Devon Self-Storage located?
It's going to be to the east, and then it's going to be off of River Drive.
All right. Is there a difference in the video surveillance cameras at Devon Self-Storage versus all the other locations we're going to be talking about?
Yes, what's recorded is captured by motion. It's not a continuous feed.
All right. So because of that, then, does it capture specific points in time that you have to then take and then interpret based on the other cameras that are a constant feed? Was there specific activity that was captured on Devon Self-Storage?
Yes.
All right. And then do you take the times of that captured activity, that captured movement, and then evaluate that based on what you see relative to the other cameras where it's a constant motion, constantly recording?
Yes, I'm drawing connections between activity that is captured on the lot and then comparing that to what's seen on Jack's Break Alignment or Breasia.
Okay. Where's Purina on this diagram?
It's going to be to the north of the lot. It's going to be the top portion of the drawing, and it's going to be near Rockingham and Schmidt Road.
All right. Is it right there at the corner of Rockingham and Schmidt?
It is.
Where are the cameras located that were picking up activity?
One of them's on Schmidt Road, and then there's also another camera angle that captures Rockingham Road.
All right. And then where does Hy-Vee come into play?
In regards to this investigation, we have that vehicle at 8:14 a.m. heading north on Concord and then east on Rockingham.
All right. The Hy-Vee parking lot, what street does it face? The front of the store?
It faces Rockingham.
Is there a parking lot over to the west side of it?
There is.
Where does Concord run relative to the Hy-Vee?
To the west of it, and it's north-south.
All right. And then you have given us a time frame of 8:14 a.m. in the morning. What is the first point of contact between Mr. Dinkins and Aisha Langford?
Approximately 8:08, 8:09 a.m.
And what is that?
A text message from the defendant to Aisha saying, call me.
All right. And then from there, then do we have the telephone conversations that play out after 8:08 and up to the time when she calls the Davenport Police Department at 8:29 a.m.?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and take your seat.
I need it cool at night.
Are you trying to ice me out of the...
Detective Obert, with each of these locations, were the dates and time counters checked to see if they were accurate?
Yes.
What was determined?
Some of them were accurate and others were not.
Okay. Did you create a diagram setting forth all of the locations that we're going to be or that we've talked about and identifying whether they were accurate or inaccurate and how much?
If you're referring to a spreadsheet that I put together, yes.
Okay, all right. And then did you then put corrected times on that spreadsheet as well for activity that we'll see?
I'd have to look at what you're referencing.
Sure.
Because there's several different made by different detectives, so
Okay,
I can't say for certain without seeing what you were referring to.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm showing counsel what's been marked as State's Exhibit 154. May I approach?
You may.
All right, Detective Over, looking at State's Exhibit 154, is there a column that's been removed that would put forth the names, addresses, and telephone numbers for the individuals associated with each of these addresses?
Yes.
Okay. Outside of that, do you recognize what's depicted on State's Exhibit 154?
I do.
What is State's Exhibit 154?
It's a list of the businesses that were of relevance in the investigation, along with the times on those video footage cameras that the vehicle is seen or something of evidentiary value, then also the evidence item number that the video footage was submitted into as well as a timestamp differential column where it's noting if it's slow ahead of time or accurate on the timestamp.
How many columns do we have setting forth information? To our left, what information do we have?
The location and then time frame and then evidence and timestamps of 4 columns.
Okay, all right. Do you have accurate times documented for activity that was observed? All right, and then is there a column that identifies what would be the inaccuracies as far as those video surveillance cameras being off?
So the time I put in this spreadsheet is the real time, not necessarily the time that you'll see on the timestamp of the video footage.
Okay.
And then the timestamp column shows if it's fast or accurate or slow.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that clarification. And then have you made adjustments then so that we have the accurate times on exhibits that we're going to be looking at?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the State will move to introduce State's Exhibit 154.
Exhibit 154 will be admitted.
Detective Over, I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 39 and 40. And I want you, let me show you the counsel real quick. Do you recognize State's Exhibits 39 and 40?
I do.
What is State's Exhibit 39?
It is nighttime activity around the defendant's motorhome and of the businesses that I drew up there earlier.
Okay. And was there activity that you captured that you would associate with that Maroon Chevy Impala?
Yes.
Okay. Going to State's Exhibit 40. What is State's Exhibit 40?
It is activity around that same location, but in the morning hours, so from 8:14 a.m. to approximately 8:27 a.m.
And does this involve activity associated with that Maroon Chevy Impala and either Mr. Dinkins or DL?
That is correct.
Okay. All of the information that you have documented, does this include aerial views of this location?
Yes.
And then have you captured segments from the video feeds for each of these locations and overlaid these on the map so that we know what activity occurred at specific times?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the State will move to introduce State's Exhibit 39 and 40.
Since we're in a bench trial, no objection.
All right. Exhibits 39 and 40 will be admitted.
Your Honor, may the State publish State's Exhibit 39 at this point?
You may.
All right, Detective Over, I'm going to have you come down off the stand, use the pointer, and adjust your...
All right, Kay, I'm not picking at you. I'm just asking questions. I'm sure that Andrea was scared of his, because I did get a lot of comments saying the same thing. I'm sure that Andrea was scared of the ugly. If you've never been a DV victim, it's hard to understand. You have a point. That's true. And I'm a victim of domestic violence too. And you have a point. But what I just don't get is when the officer came there, she could have said something then. She could have. She could have said something. This is a child. She didn't care about this child. So that's the point I'm trying to say is, you know, when are you going to snap out of it? This is a child. And this child is in your home. You will be held responsible. This child was under your care, under your roof. Because Ham Hock wasn't working. She said on the stand, he ain't got no job. Well, we know what kind of job he has. So it's just something to think about. I understand what you're saying, you know, being a victim and people don't seem to understand and you're scared and everything. But something about her, I don't think it's all of that with her. I don't know why. I don't get that with her. I don't know. Those are my opinions. That's my thoughts on it. Resume.
Your microphone. Let's go back to Mr. Dinkins' interview. With the information provided to you by Mr. Dinkins in his interview, and then the times provided by Andrea Culberson about when she woke up and when Mr. Dinkins returned to the apartment and she saw Breasia standing outside the car, did those three components provide, I guess, the basis for time?
Friday Foster, you are so welcome. Glad to have you here. Glad to have all y'all here. Reason.
That you would have looked at video surveillance down there along this area of town?
When the light duty officers were reviewing video footage, they were reviewing all hours, so it'd been the whole night. But these ones where there's activity is what we noted and took from that.
Okay, so you're looking at anything from the morning of July 10th, starting after midnight and going on?
That is correct.
Okay, and this at midnight, would we have had Mr. Dinkins, Breasia, DL, and Andrea there?
Okay. Jewel came in here with some jewels. Andrea got rid of, and blessings and welcome. Andrea got rid of them gold shoes. Yeah, where's these famous gold shoes? Okay. I believe her family put the pressure on her. Hence the reason she went to the police 4 days later. Oh, I didn't know that part. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, what are these famous shoes? Okay. Reason.
At the apartment still?
According to their statements, yes.
All right. Walk us through then what it is that you noted through activity down in that area.
The first recorded activity footage we have is at 2:13 a.m. We have a dark-colored sedan traveling north on Schmidt Road. Then the next recorded activity is at 2:29 a.m. You can faintly see headlights leaving the lot of where the defendant's motorhome is. What I'm pointing at now is where the defendant's motorhome is, and what I'm pointing at now is the headlights are kind of the movement that potentially causes the Devon self-storage to start recording motion.
Okay, let's go back to that first box, the 2:13 a.m. What video surveillance equipment is picking up that activity?
Jack's brake and alignment.
All right, so then we've got a sedan traveling what direction?
Northbound on Schmidt.
Okay, so if it's traveling northbound on Schmidt, would it be going past Jack's and then heading toward that lot where the RV was parked?
That is correct.
All right, and then is there the associated activity within the parking lot of 743 Schmidt Road where the RV is parked?
That's correct.
All right. Because of the lighting at night, are we able to discern anything about the vehicle?
No.
Okay. Can we tell whether or not it's a sedan or a pickup or a larger vehicle?
From the Jack's brake and alignment, we can determine that it's a sedan. We do not have much information from the Devon self-storage angle.
All right. Now, the other thing that I'd like to talk about, movement at 2:13 a.m., where the vehicle's traveling past Jack's, but then we have it motion activated at Devon self-storage at 2:29 a.m. Is that vehicle coming in or leaving the lot at that time?
The 2:29, it appears the vehicle is leaving the lot.
All right. So then what is the time frame that we're talking about between 2:13 a.m. and 2:29 a.m. when that vehicle is leaving the lot?
16 minutes.
16 minutes. What do we note further after 2:29 a.m.? What's the next thing that we're seeing?
At 2:30 a.m., sedan. Given what we see at 2:13 a.m., looks almost identical to this 2:30 a.m. vehicle, and it is southbound past Jack's brake and alignment. And then the next activities at 2:31 a.m. Again, looks almost identical to the vehicle that was there at 2:13 a.m. One reason on my belief is you can tell one of the headlights is brighter than the other.
Gotcha.
And that's what leads me to believe it's the same vehicle. And then it's back northbound at 2:31 a.m. on Schmidt Road.
Okay. So going out at 2:30 a.m. south and then coming back north again on Schmidt Road?
10-4. That's right.
That's correct. That's all right. It's like the farm boys coming out right now. I don't know. All right. Then at what's our next time element?
The next activity we have is at 2:49 a.m. Devon self-storage. You can get a little better glimpse of a vehicle leaving the 743 Schmidt lot.
Okay. All right. Can we draw the same correlation?
BG brought up a point. He should have been in prison for the first victim. Awful. Exactly. You see, if I'm correct, I hope I have things right here. And I could be wrong. I stand to be corrected. Just let me know, right? Just be respectful. We all be respectful here. And, okay, so he messed with a child. Why wasn't he still in jail? And then, if I'm correct, they said 3 times he never registered where he was at. Isn't that violation? He should have been in jail. See, this child was failed by everybody. Everybody. Because if the system would have been doing their job, this ham hock would not have been walking the streets and wouldn't have did what he did. This man walking around here like he didn't do anything around kids, having barbecues. Why is he having barbecues with kids? The girlfriend, you knew about this. He ain't supposed to have no kids around there. Why would the mother and grandma be okay with him being over there? You know, the kids being over there. You want to see the kids? It's going to have to be, well, see the son. It'll have to be supervised visitation. This doesn't make sense. All this is so many red flags, so many things that could have been done to prevent this. We should not be talking about this. This is not a situation like I said before. She went outside, she was playing in front of her house, she went to go buy some ice cream at a truck, or she was riding her bike up and down the street, and some sicko came out and snatched her. That's completely different. I can understand that. But this was not the case. This should have never happened. Resume.
As we did earlier, between 2:31 a.m. and 2:49 a.m. What is our time elapse?
18 minutes.
In the 2:49 a.m. with Devon Self-Storage, is that vehicle entering or leaving the lot?
That vehicle is also leaving the lot.
Okay, so is the activity consistent with what we described earlier when we saw that movement at 2:13 a.m. from Jack's brake alignment, and then we see a vehicle leaving Devon's, or the area where the RV is parked at 2:29 a.m.?
Yes, it's almost identical type of activity.
All right, what's our next activity that we observe?
The sedan traveling south past Jack's brake alignment at 2:50 a.m.
Okay, so if it's traveling south, then is it heading toward River Drive?
It is.
All right. At 2:50 a.m., then following 2:50 a.m., do we see any activity on River Drive in the area of Credit Island?
We do.
Describe.
At 2:51 a.m., we have a vehicle entering the Credit Island, and this is viewed from Sarah Lowe's residence at 2358 West River Drive.
So if it's entering Credit Island, then what direction would that vehicle be traveling?
South.
All right. And then let's talk about this photograph, okay? What do we see up in the upper left-hand corner of that still image?
That's a street light.
A street light?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Then let's go to the next activity.
It's 2:53 a.m. Sedan's leaving the area of Credit Island northbound towards River Drive.
All right. If you were to drive around Credit Island, does that time element seem consistent?
If you were to drive around the entire loop of Credit Island, it would take you more than 2 minutes to do so.
Okay.
I mean, again, it could depend on speed, but going the appropriate speed, it'd take you a few minutes.
All right. Your Honor, the state, I'd move to introduce State's Exhibit 40 handout. May I publish it this time?
You may.
We got another little tidbit. Debbie, welcome, welcome. All right, he asked to testify Friday. He sent a letter to the judge. I'm not sure if the judge accepted the letter. Friday will tell. You know, this guy's a clown. Are you kidding me? The judge said before, when they did the closing arguments, he said, would you like to, ask the lawyer. He said he did not want to speak. You can't do it now. It's too late. The judge already made his decision. He's not going to go back and cater to you. Who are you? See, this is what I'm talking about with these narcissists and sociopaths, histrionics, borderline personality disorders, psychopaths, the whole cluster B personality disorders. They always feel entitled. They feel it's about them. We're supposed to pull out the violins. Everybody's against them. Everybody's putting the finger on them. They didn't do no wrong. Yes, you did. He's panicking. You want the judge to make a decision? Now he's making a decision. He's been thinking. He's not going to sit here, Friday. Oh, what did you have to say, Ham Hock? Okay, let me listen to you. Oh, let me take this into thought and consideration. You know what? We're going to come back next week and I'm going to have to make another decision because I have to take this into accountability. No, Ham Hock. It doesn't work that way. Idiot. You fool. Resume.
All right, looking at State's Exhibit 240, what is the time element that we're going to...
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy?
Lindsay, welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, please, refrain from right now, curse words and stuff. I know a lot of people's passionate. They're not, intentionally trying to be disrespectful. They're passionate, but just be careful with the words that you're putting in this chat because, YouTube will flag a whole bunch of stuff, okay? And especially when you're talking about with crime stuff, they quick to flag things. So you have to be careful what you say, what you type in here. They check the type, everything. It's just like a what do you call it? Whatever. It hits something. Whatever machine I'm trying to say is it hits something, and it trigger words. So just please be careful with the words that you're putting into the chat. I really appreciate that, okay? Thank you. And let's get back to it.
From 8:14 a.m. to 8:27 a.m. on July 10th, 2020.
All right. What's our first documented activity that's being shown through still images taken from various video surveillance cameras?
8:14 a.m. The Maroon Impala is seen north on Concord and then east on Rockingham Road, and this is captured from the Hy-Vee at 3019 Rockingham.
What direction is the vehicle traveling?
Eastbound on Rockingham.
Would that place it on a path of travel toward the area of the Purina plant and Schmidt Road?
It would.
Okay. Let's go back and let's talk about I-280. If the vehicle had traveled south on I-280, could it go along River Drive during this period of time?
There was some construction that wouldn't cause to be able to fully be able to go on a River Drive without some sort of detour.
Okay. Was Concord a street that could be utilized to get around that construction around to the area of Credit Island and the RV?
It's possible.
Okay. All right. Now, 8:14 a.m., the vehicle's traveling east past Hy-Vee. What's our next documented activity?
8:15 a.m. The Maroon Impala is southbound on Schmidt Road past Purina.
Okay. What is our next documented activity?
At approximately 8:16 a.m., we have the Maroon Impala driving south past Jack's braking alignment.
All right. And so would that place it going toward River Drive?
That's correct.
What's our next activity?
There are not stills with it, but we have a noted 8:18 a.m. of a sedan that is dark in color that could be consistent with the vehicle that we see here at 8:16 a.m.
And where is that picked up at?
Off of Sarah Lowe's camera, and the vehicle would be entering Credit Island.
What time did the vehicle enter Credit Island?
8:18.
And then what time did Sarah Lowe's camera pick up vehicle associated with that same vehicle?
8:22 a.m. The vehicle appears the same one from 8:18 a.m. is exiting Credit Island and going on to River Drive.
How long would the vehicle have been on Credit Island then?
Well, approximately 4 minutes.
All right. From there then, where does the maroon Chevy Impala travel to?
The next confirmed sighting of the Chevy Impala is 8:22 a.m. Jack's braking alignment going northbound.
Okay, so it's turned on Schmidt Road at this point?
Yes.
And then from there, where's the vehicle picked up at?
In the lot of where the motorhome is at 8:23 and 8:24 a.m. As you can see in this.
Okay, remember Andrea was facing charges for having guns. I was trying to find it, but I heard about that too. Charges for having guns unregistered. So she needed to come up with something to incriminate Henry. She should have went down too, because another thing, why do y'all have all these guns and knives around children? The kids were sleeping on a mattress under it, had guns and knives. She should have went down. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on in Iowa. I don't know how you do your law, but I don't understand that. That doesn't add up. It just doesn't make sense. And holla, yes, 2 more days, Friday. And I'll do something on Friday. Maybe I'll do it live, stream it live when it happens. I don't know. It depends, because I don't even know what time it starts. So most likely it might be in the evening that I'll, do the recap. So sad, so sad. Resume.
Still photo, there's the defendant, DL, and then the maroon Chevy Impala right next to the motorhome.
Okay. In that photo, can you see if the trunk's open or not?
The trunk's open.
All right. And then from there?
The next movement we have recorded is that maroon Impala going northbound past Purina on Schmidt Road at 8:26 a.m.
All right. And then from there?
The maroon Impala is now going east on Rockingham Road from the Purina camera at 8:27 a.m.
All right. With it traveling east on Rockingham, Aisha Langford indicated that she then subsequently observed Mr. Dinkins in that maroon Impala traveling up on Locust, heading east at a high rate of speed, where she would have done a U-turn and started to follow him and then had contact with him at the McDonald's. Given its direction of travel, is that a direction of travel that you could take to access Locust?
Yes, it's possible.
All right. Now, I want to go down into that lower corner of this exhibit. Can you explain what is depicted there so we've got a perspective?
What I'm pointing at is the FBI CAS data, cell phone records that FBI agent Rich Fenner would have testified to. And this one in particular is southwest end activity of the defendant's phone number from 8:07 a.m. to 8:19 a.m.
Okay. And that is consistent then with what we're seeing from the video surveillance cameras?
It mirrors what we have in the video.
All right. Let's go back to State's Exhibit 39. Did you have information about whether or not the defendant would have his phone with him when Andrea woke up at 3:30 or 3 in the morning?
The defendant would have not have had his phone with him.
So then, therefore, do we have any of that information to impart on State's Exhibit 39?
No.
Your Honor, would this be correct?
Excuse me?
Would this be correct for the court?
I would be fine with that.
Okay.
We'll be in adjournment for 15 minutes.
Look at him, busy like he's so educated. He's so much smarter than everybody else. Just look at this clown. What are you reading? What notes do you have? What? You sicko. Noel says, I feel bad for the mom because she lost her daughter, which is true. But as a mother, she should have exchanged contact information. Let me finish reading. But as a mother, she should have exchanged contact information with the other woman her children were going to be with as well. Exactly. Y'all remember, with kids is little. And as parents, we worry about where our kids is at. And then they said something about a text message on his phone because the kids didn't have a cell phone. So they text, Bree was supposed to want, I guess Bree was one to text. Might didn't even do it. He could be lying. Text the mother, good night. And it's like, no, there's no text. Let me speak to you on the phone. I want to speak to you on the phone. Are you okay? Did you eat? Are you comfortable? Just let me know. Give me the sign. I'll come on out there real quick and grab you. Grab you and your brother. There's no text messages. I'm just saying that's just how I am. You stay in somebody's house, you don't even know this woman, you don't know the apartment, you don't know the setup, how your kids are sleeping. It's so many red flags, so many things in this. So many. All right, let's get back to Ham Hock.
You may proceed, Ms. Cunningham.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state would ask to go back to State's Exhibit 23, the thumb drive, and then play the video segments for the locations down on the area of River Drive, Inchmint Road.
You may.
Thank you. All right. The first video feed will be from Jack's brake and alignment. Is this the activity that you described of the vehicle traveling north?
That's correct.
And what was our time frame there?
2:13. On this timestamp, it's 3:13. It is an hour ahead of real time.
Okay. As we look at that vehicle, and I'm going to go back and play that again, just looking at the shape of the vehicle, the placement of the lights, and what we had seen in other video surveillance, does there appear to be a consistency in just the shape?
It's a sedan and appears dark in color.
All right. And then was the vehicle then traveling toward 743 Schmidt Road where the RV was parked?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Our second video feed. All right. What would be the actual time here?
2:30 a.m.
And what direction is the vehicle going to travel?
South.
Now, is this the gap in time that we noted when we were referencing the surveillance camera at Devon Self-Storage?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to jump out of this and let's go to Devon Self-Storage so that we can place that contextually.
Up in the top left is where you see those headlights leaving the area of the lot.
Okay. If you could, stand up, take your pointer, and show us where the RV is at. All right. And then show us the area where we are going to see headlights leaving the lot. Okay. I'm going to bring that down and bring it back up again so that we can watch that again. What was the time of this?
2:29 a.m.
All right. Does this fit within the first time element of 2:13 a.m. at Jack's break in alignment when it's going north, and then when we see that vehicle coming back south?
Can you ask the question again?
Yes. So going back to our 2 Jack's break in alignment, the first video shows it going north at what time?
2:13.
The second video shows it coming south at what time?
2:30.
And then what's the time element of this?
2:29, so it'd be within that window.
We're going to go back to Jack's break in alignment.
Every second we help you save.
What do we see happening here?
The sedan north on Schmidt Road.
At what time?
2:31 a.m.
Oh, shoot. And what do we have happening here?
The sedan traveling south on Schmidt Road towards River Drive at 2:50 a.m.
What is the time elapsed between 2:31 and 2:50?
19 minutes.
Okay. Now, is there that similar activity that we observed earlier from Devon Self Storage?
That is correct.
Okay. And what do we have here?
Seeing a vehicle leave the lot and head out towards Schmidt Road.
And what time?
2:50 a.m.
Okay, and we're going to go back, and we're going to start that all over again. And then, as we're looking at this, can we get a sense, just with this still photo, what kind of vehicle it is?
Dark sedan.
Okay. Is it coming from the area of the RV?
Yes.
And as far as just the shape and what we see for headlights and taillights, is that consistent with that vehicle that we've seen traveling on Schmidt Road past Jack's break in alignment?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to go back to Jack's break in alignment for activity that morning. What do we have happening here?
The Impala is driving south on Schmidt Road.
At what time?
8:16 a.m.
Okay. In the daylight, we can see basically the lines associated with the structure of that vehicle. As you look at the lines of this vehicle during daylight, does it appear consistent with the lines of that sedan that we are seeing in the night?
What lines are you referring to?
Just to stop and look at, like if you look at the lines of the vehicle and how it's structured. Okay?
The outline of it, yes.
Yeah, the outline of it. All right. And I'll play that again, just so that we can look at that. Does it appear consistent with the outline of what we're seeing in the vehicle in the dark?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to our next one. What are we seeing here?
Maroon Impala going north on Schmidt Road towards the 743 Schmidt lot.
At what time?
At 8:22 a.m.
Okay. I'm going to play that one more time, and I'm going to ask you if you're able to see anything in the vehicle with the dark tint.
You cannot see into the side windows of the vehicle because of the tint.
All right. Now, let's go ahead and let's jump back to Devon Self Storage so that we can draw the correlation between this activity. And what do we have here?
The Maroon Impala parked next to the motorhome. Shortly, you'll see DL and the defendant exit out of the motorhome.
And is the trunk open on that vehicle?
It is.
Does a child go around the front or the back of the vehicle?
That goes around it.
All right. And so then the child would have walked around the back of the vehicle with that trunk open?
Yes.
Would that be fair to say?
That would be.
As far as the photographs that were taken by crime scene or civilian crime scene technician Jill Foster, had she taken a photograph of the trunk with the lid open just so that we could see what was immediately apparent?
That is correct.
All right. Was there an axe that was immediately apparent?
There was.
All right. Did this particular footage fall between what we saw as far as the path of travel of the vehicle going north and then coming back south?
Yes.
We'll go to the high V. Okay. What are we seeing here?
You're going to see the Maroon Impala traveling north on Concord, approaching Rockingham Road.
Okay.
Now the vehicle's traveling east on Rockingham.
What was our time?
8:14 a.m.
And so all of this activity occurs before what we've seen in Jack Break and Alignment and Devon Self Storage. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
All right. Then in this video clip.
Hi, I'm Dom. Can I work in Lido, Mass?
Going to be the, you only can see a top left portion, but the Maroon Impala traveling east on Rockingham.
Is this just after the vehicle has turned from Concord traveling east on Rockingham?
That is correct.
All right. Then we're going to go to Purina. Okay, gotcha. All right.
If you drive maybe VLC.
Yeah, I don't have a mouse, and so trying to get the darn thing to do what it needs to do. Let me see if I can get it. Hold on. There we go. After the vehicle travels east past Hy-Vee, is this where we're going to pick it up next?
Yeah, south on Schmidt Road, past Perino, and there's the vehicle.
Okay. What was the time of this?
Approximately 8:15 a.m. The timestamp on that one, as you can see, is approximately 9.5 to 10 minutes fast.
Okay. What activity are we going to see here?
And the Impala north on Schmidt Road towards Rockingham at approximately 8:26 a.m.
And then from here, what are we seeing?
Be the Maroon Impala traveling east on Rockingham from Perino, video footage, approximately 8:27 a.m.
Would this place it heading directionally?
I don't get these idiots. You have cameras everywhere. Look how they just catching him driving all around. You cannot commit a crime. Back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, these serial killers was having a field day out here just killing people. Because they was able to get away with stuff. They didn't have all that DNA. I don't know when the DNA is coming. They come in the 90s, 80s, I don't know. Somebody know, put it in the chat. So you didn't have DNA, you didn't have all these cameras. They had to really just go by a witness. If you didn't have a witness, it was like, what do you do? Don't these fools realize you are going to get caught? There's a camera everywhere, and cameras don't cost much. If you don't have it, your neighbor has it. Resume.
Toward an area where you can access Locust Street.
Yes.
All right. Now let's go down to Sarah Lowe and her residence. In our first video.
Let me read this. Redbird. I hope I got it right. Redbird. I'm a survivor of DV too. But that don't exempt me from having morals and helping a defenseless child who just spent the evening learning about your job, right? They was all cool together. She would teach him about the job and everything. But you couldn't make a phone call. You couldn't do anything to protect this girl. Wow. Andrea should have been charged. I agree. Thank you for putting that there. Resume.
2:51 a.m. Showing a vehicle entering Credit Island.
As we see this vehicle entering Credit Island, is that essentially the drive there onto the island itself?
Yes.
Okay. Now we see a street here at the top of the video. What street is that?
That is West River Drive.
Okay. And you indicated, what did you say the difference was in the timestamp here?
I'd have to refer to that chart, but I believe it's around 4.5 minutes.
Sure. Our next one. What time do we have it coming on?
This would be it leaving. So it's 2:53 is actual time, but on the timestamp it's 2:48. So that'd be 5 minutes.
Okay, all right. If we take the activity from these two video clips and then we relate it to activity that we've seen from Jack's break in alignment and then at Devon's self-storage, where would this fall into play? And I'll do a little bit better job at that. So first round, we have it going south.
Great question, Jules says. If the mother hadn't seen him racing down the street, Lord knows what he was up to. Great question. What was he up to? No good, we know that much.
Or north on Schmidt Road. We've got the activity at Devon's, and then we have it traveling back south. What was the period of time that we attribute the vehicle as being at 740 Schmidt Road?
Approximately 2:13 a.m. to 2:29 a.m.
All right. Now, if we go to that same activity where we see it going on Schmidt Road, it's motion activated over at Devon Self-Storage, and we see that vehicle leaving and traveling again on Schmidt Road. What is that time frame there?
2:49 a.m. is when it's leaving the lot.
Okay. And then so this activity here, would that then correlate with the vehicle traveling down toward River Drive and going on to Credit Island?
It could be, yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the morning. What are we showing here?
Now it looks like a dark colored vehicle entering Credit Island.
What time?
At approximately 8:18 a.m.
And then our next one?
It's going to be what we believe to be the same vehicle that entered is now exiting Credit Island at approximately 8:22 a.m.
And again, are the counters right on this video feed?
No, it's 5 minutes off.
All right. Is this the 4-minute segment of time that it becomes very interesting given statements by the child about what happened down there on Credit Island?
Yes.
All right.
How's the scented angel soft coming?
Angel, we've got it. The smelling room is at the center.
Let's go back to the defendant's statement in the interview. What did the defendant describe his activities being during the middle of the night of July 10th?
The defendant described going to 509 Taylor Street and not making any contact with anyone, and then also going over to the quick shop.
Okay. And then from there, how many times did he describe going back and forth to the apartment complex on Jersey Meadows?
It would have been those 2 times, and then the time to come pick up DL.
All right. During the interview, do you recall a point in time where the defendant mentioned that he may have gone out to his RV to get a couple of dollars worth of gas? Get a couple of dollars for gas?
That's correct.
All right. And would he give you any time element associated with that activity that he's describing having done that?
He wasn't sure if it was before or after meeting with Aisha.
Okay. All right. At any rate, when we go through and we look at all of this video surveillance feed, do we ever just see a moment of time where it's motion activated there at Devon Self-Storage and we don't see his vehicle anywhere else in that area? Did that make sense? It didn't make sense. That's okay. That's all right. Did you put together a timeline so that we could just go through and look at all of the events sequentially during the early morning hours of July 10th and going up to the period of time when Aisha Langford would have been advised her daughter was missing?
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, may the record reflect that I'm showing counsel to mark the state exhibit 44 through 49. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm handing you State's Exhibits 44 through 49. Are you familiar with each of these exhibits?
I am.
How are you familiar with these exhibits?
That was a timeline that I put together.
Does this set forth all of the relevant time frames associated with events that occurred after the midnight hour of July 10th and up to the point in time that the child then has been reported missing?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would move to introduce State's Exhibits 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, and 49.
I offer no objection. All of those exhibits will be admitted.
May we publish, Your Honor?
1 moment, please. If I could see counsel at the bench, please.
Your Honor, can I correct something for the record?
You may.
We've actually, we went through and we corrected our numbers, so it's going to be 44-1 through 44-6, and then I'll put the appropriate exhibit markers on that after we finish this testimony.
And again, I assume no objection, right, Mr. Freese? Yes, the exhibit will be corrected to be admitted, exhibit number 44-1 through 6.
Okay, all right. May we publish, Your Honor?
You may.
Okay. All right, so going through this then, on State's Exhibit 44-1. Walk us through our timeline.
Sometime before 12 a.m., Andrea falls asleep and last sees the defendant on the couch at the apartment at 2744 East 53rd Street, apartment 8. Breasia is asleep in the bedroom while DL is playing video games.
Next.
At 2:13 a.m., we have a dark colored sedan northbound on Schmidt Road past Jack's Break alignment at 2160 West River Drive.
Next.
2:29 a.m., headlights leaving the lot of 743 Schmidt Road where the defendant's motorhome is parked. This is captured from Devon's self-storage camera at 2070 West River Drive.
Our next entry.
2:30 to 2:31 a.m., the dark colored sedan southbound on Schmidt Road and then returns northbound on Schmidt Road from Jack's Break camera.
Our next entry.
2:49 a.m., dark colored sedan leaving the lot of 743 Schmidt Road.
Our next entry.
2:50 a.m., dark colored sedan south on Schmidt Road towards River Drive, captured from Jack's Break camera.
Our next entry.
2:51 a.m. to 2:53 a.m., vehicle seen entering Credit Island and leaving Credit Island from the Sarah Lowe's camera.
State's Exhibit 44-2. Our first entry.
At approximately 3 a.m., Andrea Culberson wakes up and notices the defendant and Breasia Terrell are missing from the apartment.
Our next entry.
3:11 a.m. and 3:12 a.m., Andrea tries to call the defendant and notices his phone was left in the apartment.
Where does this information come from?
Andrea Culberson's phone records.
Okay, our next entry.
Kendall says, and welcome. Hello, Donna, mods, and chat. I'm a new subscriber and welcome aboard. Welcome. Glad to have you. I hope you get a chance to view the letter that Ham Hock wrote to the judge. He states that a lot of what we are viewing as evidence he never knew of. I know I just showed the clip, a little news clip, and they said something about 5 o'clock, but I can't seem to find it. Darn. If I can, I'll do it tomorrow. But I didn't see the letter. I just heard it was a news clip that, he sent a letter to the judge. But it's really a waste. Unless he really got some strong proof. Well, I think that his lawyer should have picked up on it, right? I don't know. They all work in the same building. They all friends with each other. So they all shaking each other's hands. Prosecution is friends with defense. They all in the same building. That's how it is in the court buildings. You by yourself. Oh, okay. Let's get back to it.
Approximately 3:30 a.m., Andrea advised the defendant walks into the apartment, retrieves an unknown item from the bedroom closet, and leaves. Andrea looks out the window and sees Breasia standing outside of the Impala prior to the defendant leaving.
Our next entry.
3:33 a.m. to 3:38 a.m., the defendant arrives at Quick Shop in the Maroon Impala, 201 West 53rd Street. Henry purchases $35 of gasoline, 2 packs of cigarettes, and a lighter using cash. The defendant is seen leaving in the Impala, traveling eastbound on West 53rd Street.
Our next entry.
Approximately 4:30 a.m.,
And then, you know what, this is a gap that needs to be filled later on. Just to jump ahead, were you involved in the investigation of Breasia Terrell when her remains were recovered?
Yes.
All right. Upon the discovery of her remains, were there news stories that started to come out?
Yes.
Okay. By virtue of those news stories that came out, was there a citizen witness who lived out in the area of Clinton that contacted law enforcement relative to events that were of interest surrounding the time that Breasia would have come up missing?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll skip over that. That gap will be filled later on. What's our next entry?
And I use approximately loosely for this because we don't have confirmation on this next time, just knowing it's happened before 5 p.m.
Alright,
The defendant
welcome.
returns to Andrea's apartment to pick up DL.
Okay. What's our next entry?
5:55 a.m., Andrea calls the defendant, which lasts for 39 seconds. Dinkins, the defendant's cell phone plots leaving the area of the apartment complex.
And where does this information come from?
Phone records.
All right. State's Exhibit 44-3.
At 5:55 a.m., Maroon Impala seen going westbound on East 53rd Street, past the Quick Start, 2050 East 53rd Street.
Our next entry?
5:57 a.m., Maroon Impala northbound in the 6100 block of Eastern Avenue from the 6138 Judson Circle camera.
Our next entry?
5:59 a.m., Maroon Impala southbound in 5900 block of Jersey Ridge Road from the 5915 Woodland Ave camera.
Our next entry.
6:01 a.m., the defendant calls Andrea, which lasts 9 seconds. The call places the defendant back at the apartment.
Okay. Now, Andrea had testified that she had contacted Mr. Dinkins to indicate that there was another bag of clothing for the children that he did not take with him when he left with DL. And then when he returned, she indicated that she had actually gone down to the car to turn those clothes over to him, that second bag of clothes over to the defendant. Does that correlate with that entry?
It would.
Okay. What's our next entry?
6:05 a.m., the Maroon Impala traveling northbound in 5900 block of Jersey Ridge Road, again from the Woodland Ave camera. This video footage corroborates with the defendant's cell phone records.
Our next entry?
6:11 a.m., Maroon Impala, confirmed to be the defendant. The one the defendant was operating is traveling northbound on Highway 61 from the mile marker 124 camera.
Our next entry?
6:43 a.m., Maroon Impala traveling east towards Clinton on Highway 30 from Posh Farms, which is 6441 Lincoln Way camera.
State's Exhibit 44-4.
At 6:49 a.m., Maroon Impala arrives into the Walmart parking lot. Henry and the defendant walks up to the doors. This is not open until 7 a.m. The defendant gets back into the Impala.
Our next entry?
6:54 a.m., Maroon Impala exits the lot. Camera view shows a front seat passenger, believed to be DL.
Next entry?
6:57 a.m., the Maroon Impala re-enters the Walmart parking lot.
The next entry?
6:58 a.m. to 7:10 a.m. The defendant enters Walmart, purchases 2 Clorox 81-ounce bottles of bleach. The defendant places the bleach into the trunk of the Impala and leaves Walmart. The defendant's cell phone pings off a tower in Clinton at 7:02 a.m. and 7:03 a.m.
The next entry?
7:10 a.m., the Maroon Impala traveling westbound in 2600 block of Lincoln Way/Highway 30. This is from the First Central State Bank camera.
The next entry?
7:15 a.m., Maroon Impala traveling westbound on Lincoln Way/Highway 30 from the Posh Farms camera.
Our next entry?
7:26 a.m., Maroon Impala traveling westbound on Highway 30, and this is from the DeWitt Travel Center camera at 630 South 6th Ave, DeWitt.
44-5. What is our first entry?
7:52 a.m., Maroon Impala traveling southbound on Highway 61 from mile marker 124 camera.
Next entry?
8:14 a.m., the Maroon Impala is traveling northbound on Concord Street and then eastbound on Rockingham Road from the Hy-Vee 3019 Rockingham Road camera.
The next entry?
8:15 a.m., Maroon Impala traveling southbound in the 700 block of Schmidt Road from the Purina cameras.
The next entry?
8:16 a.m., Maroon Impala travels southbound on Schmidt Road towards River Drive, captured from Jack's brake and alignment.
The next entry?
8:18 a.m. to 8:22 a.m., dark color sedan enters and exits Credit Island. Cell data records puts the defendant's cell phone in that area.
Next entry?
8:22 a.m., Maroon Impala traveling northbound on Schmidt Road from the Jack's brake camera.
Next entry?
8:24 a.m., Maroon Chevrolet Impala in the lot at 743 Schmidt Road with the trunk open, the defendant and DL standing near the motorhome from the Devon Self Storage camera.
And finally, State's Exhibit 44-6.
8:26 a.m. to 8:27 a.m., the Maroon Impala is traveling northbound on Schmidt Road and then east on Rockingham Road from the Purina cameras.
From there?
Approximately 8:42 a.m., the defendant meets with Aisha at McDonald's at 1733 East Kimberly Road, and she to give her DL.
Our next entry?
8:55 a.m. to 9:18 a.m., Officer Burkle arrives at the apartment complex, meets with the defendant, DL, and Aisha. Officer Burkle checks the immediate area and returns to find the defendant has left.
Our next entry?
9:33 a.m., the Maroon Impala is traveling eastbound on West 53rd Street from the fire station number 8 camera.
Okay. Now, was there video surveillance footage that was collected from that area?
Yes.
Did you have a chance to review it?
As in the fire station one?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. And is that where this activity was documented from?
Yes.
All right. And from there?
11:46 a.m., the Maroon Impala is traveling southbound in the 3700 block of Bridge Ave, captured from Puryear Law Firm at 3719 Bridge Ave.
Was there video surveillance footage that was collected from the Puryear Law Office?
Yes.
And did you review that?
Yes.
Does that footage document the activity that's described here?
It does.
And then what's the relevance of the location of Henry Dinkins' vehicle during this period of time?
That is very close to Nina McQuay and Helen Mosley's apartment complex. Cell phone records also corroborate this location.
Okay. And then finally?
12 p.m., the defendant arrives at the police station.
All right. Detective Obert, let's go back and let's talk about that time element that you were noticing. When you had driven between mile marker 122 and the location of Posh Farms, driving the normal speed limit, how much time should that have taken?
Mile marker 124 to Posh Farms was 22 minutes and 30 seconds driving the speed limit.
All right, and then when you looked at the video surveillance footage.
Okay, viewers, she says, I read the letter and he basically complaining that his lawyer didn't have time to review the state evidence. That's not good. But I'll say one thing, I mean, it is what it is. When you get a public defender, you're going to get whatever. Anything free is usually not good. They backed up with cases. I mean, there's so much proof really to say that you did it. You look at your past history. I know they've been trying. I think this is like the second lawyer maybe he went through or something, I think. And, you know, they probably told him to take a plea bargain, but he won't do it because these personality disorders, they're so stubborn. You know, they're not going to admit to anything. They will not. They just refuse to do it. Wow. I want to see this letter. I know something. Let me see if I can look up. All right, let's get back to it.
From mile marker 124 with that Impala going out northbound to the point in time that it reached Posh Farms, what was the time frame associated with that?
32 minutes.
And then when you looked at it from Posh Farms with the vehicle traveling back west and then hitting mile marker 124 when it was going back south, what was the time frame there?
37 minutes.
All right. Given that there is a 10-minute and then again a 15-minute time discrepancy, when you had noted that, were you looking at areas just to the north of Highway 30 to try and identify locations where Breasia may be located?
Given those unaccounted for times, looking at a map, there was exits off those two roads that people could take. So from that, I'm trying to deduce how far someone could drive out to a location and back to make up for that unaccounted for time.
Okay, let me take you back to State's Exhibit 38. When you were looking at that variable, was it something that you were focused on in July of 2020?
July and August and the months after as well.
All right. Describe then how that directed your course of action.
There was searches that were conducted, one in particular on August 20th of 2020.
Tell us about that search and where it occurred at.
That was at Wendling Quarries, and can I approach to kind of point the general area of that?
Absolutely, if you would. So show us where Highway 30 is located, the junction of Highway 30 and 61. All right, where is Wendling's quarry located relative to Highway 61 and the exit ramp onto Highway 30? North? Okay, turn the microphone so we can hear you. Is it further north on Highway 61?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Wendling Quarries is in that general area.
Is it on the east side or the west side of Highway 61?
West side.
All right. Describe what search was conducted or the nature of the search that was conducted of that quarry back in August of 2020.
It was along the road that it shares with. It was about a mile stretch. Detectives were on both sides of it. It was heavily wooded in that area. Detectives walked down about a mile stretch and looked for anything of evidentiary value.
And was there anything of evidentiary value found?
No.
And then when her remains were discovered on March 22nd of 2021, what would have been the additional distance from that location that you had checked to where her remains were found?
The distance between the two are a couple miles.
All right, go ahead and take your seat. Detective Obert, were you aware of Sergeant Pfeiffer and Detective Hammes ever having driven DL out to the area of Highway 61?
I kind of noticed that was a little bit disrespectful how he just sat back there and he was just in the closing arguments, the defense lawyer. See, basically defense, they already know he's guilty, but, you know, if he wants to say not guilty, you have a right to, you know, be represented. So they have to do the best they can. I kind of feel sorry for these defense lawyers because they doing the best they can because they know they're going in and they're not going to beat prosecution. Prosecutors have too much evidence stacked up. You're done. Okay, resume.
And Highway 30.
Yes.
Okay. Relative to that drive, were you given any information about the child and directions that he wanted them to proceed? And if you don't know, that's fine. We can talk with Sergeant Pfeiffer and Detective Hammes about that.
One thing that was mentioned from them to me after the drive was done, notably from Detective Hammes told me this, is that when they were north on 61 and took the exit to go on Highway 30, DL told them no, to keep going, as in to keep going north.
All right. Now let's talk about March 22nd of 2021. Were you notified that 3 fishermen had recovered skeletal remains?
That's correct.
Okay, set the stage for that and explain.
The time was at approximately 6:30 p.m. I received a phone call from Sergeant Pfeiffer advising that remains were found in Clinton County near DeWitt, and that he was responding to go look at the remains in the belief that it could possibly be Breasia Terrell. I then made the decision to also go up there. Sergeant Pfeiffer sent me a ping location, which was just south of Cunell Implement.
Okay, describe the scene when you got up to that area.
It was dark by the time I got there. I was able to go from a distance, observe the skeletal remains, and there was a flip-flop that was near the remains as well, and then also some hair.
Okay. Was there something about the flip-flop that was of import to you?
Yes, it was blue and white in color, which was similar to what Aisha described as a possibility of Breasia wearing.
Okay. And relative to the hair that was located in the area of the skeletal remains, was there something that you noted about the hair that was of import to you?
There was seashells in them. Again, another description provided by Aisha.
Okay. All right. Now, were you one of the individuals involved in maintaining the control of that site until the next morning when law enforcement officers and individuals from the State Medical Examiner's Office and the DCI responded out there?
My responsibility was to leave there and go interview the 3 fishermen that located her. Scene security was discussed and handled by Sergeant Pfeiffer.
Okay. Who were the 3 fishermen that you interviewed?
Jesse Dow, Brendan Rogge, and Eric Johnson.
Could you spell Dow spell Jesse Dow so that we've got a correct spelling?
Jesse. Dow is D-A-U.
All right. And then Brendan Rogge so that we've got a correct spelling?
B-R-E-N-D. I don't know if it's A-N or O, and I have to refer to my records.
Okay.
And then last name is Rogge, that's R-O-G-G-E.
And then Eric, how does he spell his first name?
E-R-I-C.
When did you conduct the interviews of the 3 fishermen?
Shortly after responding up to the remains on March 22nd, 2021.
And then following your interviews of those subjects, describe your involvement at the site on March 23rd.
On March 23rd, we responded to the site where we had a mobile command center up and then also caution tape up of an inner perimeter and an outer perimeter. And then my responsibilities throughout that day was to assist the anthropologist and her staff on clearing debris away from Breasia's remains, and then they would help us determine what's of significance in regards to what remains and what wasn't.
Certainly. And then were you involved in any additional investigation on April 3rd of 2021 relative to the pond where her remains were located?
Yes.
Explain.
We had Big River Rescue Search Team respond out to that pond, and they conducted a search of it. During that search, a firearm was retrieved from the pond.
What type of firearm?
A revolver.
Okay.
38 caliber.
A 38 caliber revolver. When Breasia's remains were discovered on March 22nd, and then we had the processing of the scene on March 23rd, did officers search that area for any type of casings?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's talk about the different types of handguns. Describe the 2 different types of handguns.
Semi-automatic and revolver or wheel gun.
Sure. If a semi-automatic is utilized, what happens at the point that the gun is fired?
Shell casing ejects from the chamber.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I asked before, and I'm going to have to say it again. Please refrain with the curse words. Okay? It will send triggers with the YouTube, please. I know everybody's passionate and upset. There's so many curse words I could say right now, but I'm holding myself from doing it. So please, even though you're putting in the chat, be careful with the words that you're putting in there. Okay? Just say R for grape. S-A. S-O. Okay? Please, please. All right? I just ask that. If you do it again, I'm going to have to time you out. And then if I time you out and you do it again, I'm going to have to ban you from this channel. And I don't want to do that because I know people in here, they're really passionate about this. I am too. But please be respectful. Okay? Thank you. Let's get back to it.
When her remains were recovered, were there projectiles located in the area of her remains?
There was.
Okay. By virtue of that, was the area searched for any type of casings?
Yes.
Were there any casings found?
No.
When the gun was recovered from the pond, what type of gun was it again?
Revolver.
And so then did that make sense that there were no casings found?
That would match. That'd be indicative of what we found at the scene, yes.
Okay. And when a revolver is fired, what happens?
The shell casing remains in the wheel of the gun and has to be purposefully manipulated and dumped out in order to remove the shell casings.
Did this conclude your involvement in this matter?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Freeze, it would appear that it would be best to conduct your cross-examination after lunch. There will be an adjournment until 1:30.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Look at this clown. What is up with this hairstyle? What is up with that? You gonna come to court like that? I believe in the jail. I don't know. I've never been arrested, nothing like that. So I'm about sure in the jailhouse, they know you get ready to go to court and you go on a trial. They let you get an opportunity to get a nice, shower, shave, cut your hair. Why are you coming to court looking like that? Why? See, he think he cute. He think he fine, that clown. Resume. All right, let me fast forward on lunch break.
64, it is the white t-shirt that the defendant was wearing when I had that interview with him.
State's Exhibit 65.
65 is the shorts that the defendant was wearing when I had the interview with him.
And finally, State's Exhibit 66.
The black head wrap that the defendant was wearing when I interviewed him.
Okay. Were those items seized from him on July 10th of 2020?
They were.
Okay. And then after having seized those items, were they placed in evidence at the Davenport Police Department?
That is correct.
Okay. Relative to the placement of those items in evidence, were they ever removed and sent off for any type of analysis at any laboratories?
They were sent to the FBI lab for analysis.
And then once that analysis was concluded, were they sent back to the Davenport Police Department?
They were. I picked them up from the field office over in Moline.
Okay. Were they placed back into our permanent evidence vault?
Yes.
Your Honor, this time the state would move to introduce State's Exhibits 63, 64, 65, and 66 into evidence.
No objection, Your Honor.
Those exhibits will be admitted.
The one exhibit I'm particularly interested in is State's Exhibit 65, the shirt. Could you please pull that item out of the evidence bag?
Should I wear gloves?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
And excuse me, is that 65 or 64 for the record?
60, let me just double check. It's going to be, I'm interested in State's Exhibit 64.
64 t-shirt.
All I did, Dee, was show a news clip. I didn't read the letter or anything like that because I didn't see the letter myself. I just showed a news clip that they was talking about this famous letterer.
Could you hold that item up so that we can see what it looks like? Relative to that shirt, what color is it?
White.
Does it have a label to indicate the size?
It does.
What is the size?
4XL.
And you were out at the scene where Breasia's remains were recovered, is that correct?
That is correct.
Was there clothing that was recovered with those skeletal remains?
There was.
Did that include a white t-shirt?
Yes.
What was the size of that t-shirt?
4XL.
Okay, looking at the t-shirt, first of all at the front, do you note any type of dirt? I mean, just of any sort?
Nothing blatantly obvious.
Okay, and then at the back of the shirt, is there anything that you notice?
Just appears some sort of stain up on what would be the right shoulder area.
Okay, all right, I have no further questions relative to that. Go ahead and package it back up.
Hang on to that shirt.
Okay.
Detective Obert, with that shirt again, inspect it for me if you would. Looks like a fairly clean shirt, would you agree?
Yeah.
It's worn, but it's for a white t-shirt that's like an undershirt. It's fairly clean, correct?
Yes.
You don't see any grass stains on it, do you?
No.
No tears from perhaps being close to a fence or a bush or something like that, do you?
There's one little rip on the back left side.
Okay, you can put it back in the bag now. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I just assumed counsel was taking the witness on voir dire.
Never mind. I'm sorry. I thought you were done, Ms. Cunningham.
No, that's okay. Okay. And just based on the observations of what Mr. Dinkins was observed wearing in that quick shop video, is that t-shirt significantly different than what was observed wearing in the quick shop video?
Quick shop was a white beater or a white tank top as compared to this t-shirt.
Okay. Now, my final set of questions to you is this. In January of 2021, were you contacted by Clinton County authorities relative to individuals who had information to supply relative to the investigation?
That is correct.
Explain.
Two subjects. Well, one initially said that they had information in regards to something they overheard the defendant say, and then as a result of that interview, another subject was mentioned, and then I also interviewed that subject as well.
What are the names of those two individuals?
Matt Dean and David Baker.
Okay. Your Honor, can I have a moment?
You may.
And did you perform interviews of both of those subjects?
Yes.
I have no further questions, Your Honor.
Now I can go. Detective Obert, I've heard you use this term, and other officers use this term, and even the prosecution uses this term a number of times. When you say the term wife beater, what are we talking about?
A white tank top.
Why do we call it a wife beater here?
In this certain situation, it's just a common term referred to that article of clothing.
Why?
In my common knowledge experiences, someone that wears that, like, if we're going stereotypes, someone that assaults their significant other.
Defense, you really grasping for straws. Who cares? It's just the same. Everybody hears that one. The wife beater. Okay? Okay? Well, he's doing the best he can, right? Let me leave him alone. Resume. Well, let me read the votes real quick. Let me see the votes real quick. All right. Do you think the verdict will be... Well, 97... we have 107 votes. And 97% says, come on, Donna, guilty. 1% says, not guilty. 2% says, not sure. All right. Resume.
You're not saying that Mr. Dinkins is a wife beater, right?
Correct.
So let's use the word tank top from now on, okay?
Sounds good.
Is that fair?
That is fair.
All right. Appreciate it. Talking about the clothing, items 60, exhibits 63 through 66. You sent those off to the FBI lab yourself?
No.
But the decision was made within the Detective Bureau of the Davenport Police Department, correct?
That is correct.
And decisions were made as to what those items should be tested for by the Detective Bureau?
By the FBI analysis team. There's like no formal form I filled out to say it has to be tested for this, that, or the other.
Did anybody at Davenport request that certain items of forensic evidence be tested off those 4 items of clothing?
Yes.
And who would that have been?
I've been a collective group of Sergeant Pfeiffer and the lieutenants, and then that information was relayed to Cameron Smith and Jim McMillan.
Did you have input into that decision?
Not at that time, no.
Did you provide information to Sergeant Pfeiffer and this group as to what you thought should be tested?
Not at that time.
So, the Nike shoes, were impressions ever taken of those shoes, the soles?
Not that I'm aware of.
Were those shoes ever compared to the footprints at Credit Island?
I do not believe so.
The footprints at Credit Island, can you tell me if the footprints were ever analyzed to see if they came from a pair of tennis shoes, first of all?
I do not believe so.
Did they come from a pair of work boots, perhaps?
It is possible. I don't know for certain.
But we don't know, right?
That is correct.
They could come from bedroom slippers, possibly?
You'd have to have like some distinct lines on the bottom of those slippers, I'd say.
The point is that the Davenport Police Department or any other law enforcement agency did not take any footwear impressions of those footprints for comparison purposes, did they?
We took those impressions, but they were not compared to any shoes that we had.
Okay. So Mr. Dinkins gives you a pair of shoes. Those aren't compared, number one, right?
That is correct.
And at this point in time, you don't know what shoes he would have been wearing at Credit Island if he were in fact there, correct?
At what point?
When you're interviewing Mr. Dinkins and he gives you his clothes, right?
That'd be correct.
Because DL never told you he was wearing gold shoes, did he?
That is correct.
You didn't have videos yet, did you?
That is correct.
Were the shoes ever tested for DNA?
I can't say for certain on. I'd have to go back to the report.
The white T-shirt, that was tested for blood, correct?
That is correct.
And why blood?
In any sort of...
Sure, Kay. You have a point. You have a point there. The white beater shirt comment is in the defense trying to indicate that calling that shirt that name is just another way to prejudge him to his client, since he wore one getting gas. That's right, he did wear that way getting gas. You're right. Got a point. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. That's true. All right, let's get back to it.
Foreign DNA or anything known at that point was just a general thing that the FBI lab was going to test for, along with other things.
You say foreign DNA. We can get DNA in a lot of different ways, agreed?
Yes.
DNA can come from saliva, correct?
Yes.
Tears, correct?
Potentially, yes. I can't speak on that.
You can sneeze and leave DNA, right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last one?
Sure. You can sneeze and leave DNA?
Potentially, yes.
You can slough DNA off your skin, can't you?
Yes.
But none of that was tested for on that shirt, was it?
I'm not for certain. I'd have to look at that report.
Do you know if that request was even made by the Davenport Police Department?
I do not know that.
In your training and experience as a detective, would that, in your experience, been the best practice to search for all DNA?
To test it for the other things that you just listed?
For all DNA of any sort. Would that be a yes?
I would agree with that, yes.
Especially if you only tested for blood and the results come back negative for blood, would it not be best practice for a detective, in your training and experience, to perhaps send that item off again for testing for any sort of DNA?
That is an avenue that probably could have been explored.
But in your training and experience, would it not be the best practice to do that?
Given what information we had, that could be something that we could have done.
I'm not asking what you could have done. I'm saying if you have a shirt that's tested for only blood, and let's say maybe semen, and those come back negative, and no other DNA was tested for, Would it not be best practice, given your education, given your training, and given your experience, to then send that item off and have it tested for other types of DNA?
The defendant was with Breasia Terrell, that we all know, from July 9th through July 10th. Her touch to the shirt wouldn't negate or add the benefit of that. I mean, if she's within the apartment and he's there as well and the shirt's there, me personally, I feel like touch DNA would not bolster one or the other.
Okay. So your testimony is that DNA from Breasia Terrell on the clothing of Henry Dinkins serves no beneficial purpose?
Touch DNA on the t-shirt.
Very well. And the shorts, item 65, those were also tested for blood and semen, and those came back negative as well, right?
That's correct.
Now, shorts, you have to agree that might be a little different for touch DNA, would it not?
As far as the significance or importance that touch would be there?
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be not like a common place where someone else would touch an individual.
Sure. So if Breasia Terrell's touch DNA were on the inside of Henry Dinkins' shorts, that would throw up red flags, would it not?
Yes.
And would it not be best practice in your training, your education, and experience, knowing that Breasia Terrell had never been to Henry Dinkins' apartment with Andrea Culberson before, to have the inside of Mr. Dinkins' shorts he was wearing tested for all kinds of DNA?
That is something that could have been done.
Would you have preferred it as you as detective?
Yes.
Michelle, you have a point there. The judge has heard that term before. Yeah, I think he heard it several times. I could see if it was a jury. Yeah, I was thinking that too. If it was a jury, be a little bit different. But in a way, I can understand. You don't need to say that because it's kind of like, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. So saying that really is not good. All right, so defense will give you a point there. We'll give you a point. You did good on that part. But nothing else. Well, I shouldn't even say that. Let me take that back. I shouldn't even knock defense because look what you up against. What can he do? Let's get back to it.
And given the fact that Breasia Terrell had only been in this apartment from the evening of July 9th into the early morning hours of July 10th, you still say that touch DNA has very little significance to this case?
I guess I'd expand on in particulars about that because we agreed about the shorts but not the shirt.
Okay, please do.
So, you want me to expand on other things in the apartment or?
No, this girl didn't live at that apartment, right?
That's correct.
She'd never been there before, right?
That's correct.
So we wouldn't expect to see her DNA all over the apartment, correct?
All depends on where she was at in the apartment that night.
Okay. And this head wrap, this black head wrap that Mr. Dinkins was wearing, there was no blood or semen found on that, right?
Correct.
Touch DNA, would that have any significance on his head wrap?
Potentially. I know it wasn't tested. When I'm trying to think of a reason why her prints or touch DNA would be on that head wrap, unless she was asked to hand it off to him at some point in the night or different things like that, it's potential that could have been on there.
Or perhaps in a struggle and was fighting with him and touched him upon the head?
That is a possibility.
In your training, education, and experience, and in your investigation in this case, where's the primary crime scene?
Where she was located.
So up there in Clinton County by Kuhnau Implement is the primary crime scene, correct?
That is where her remains were found, yes.
Is that where she was killed?
I can theorize. Based on the lack of blood and things found in other parts of this investigation, I would argue it's hard to transport someone that's already been shot and take them up there and then dump them. I believe that she was shot there.
And that makes sense, does it not?
Yes.
Because we looked for blood in the Impala and there's none there, correct?
Correct.
And we looked for other evidence at Credit Island and there's just nothing there as far as blood or anything, right?
Nothing that we found, no.
And no blood evidence in the apartment, right?
Correct.
And we did find at the location where her remains were found that she had been shot 3 times. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
And where she had been shot, all 3 slugs were recovered, were they not?
They were.
And 2 of them were embedded in the soil already, right?
Yeah, they're within the topsoil, yeah.
And in your training and experience, that would indicate to you that right there is probably where she was shot.
Yes.
Okay. So you were talking about this firearm with Ms. Cunningham. I want you to educate me a little bit. The firearm was found, in the pond right next to the location of the remains, correct?
Yes.
Within, 50 yards probably?
Yeah.
So what's the significance of this firearm?
The significance is when DCI did an analysis of the rounds recovered with Breasia's remains and compared to that firearm that was located in the pond, they cannot rule it out as being a possible, being the gun involved with that. But there's no exact where they can say that is for sure the firearm.
Okay, so we have this gun, it's a 38 special revolver, right?
Yes.
But we can't say that's the gun that killed her, but it falls within the class of guns that could have killed her.
That's right.
It could be anywhere from a .357 all the way up through a 9mm, right?
I believe that's what included in the ECI report.
And there's all kinds of guns and manufacturers that make those guns in this country. Fair?
Yes.
And the slugs which were recovered were too, I'm going to say too far gone, too destroyed to be tested as to whether or not they came from that particular gun, right?
Yeah, they used the word deformed, I believe.
That's a fair word. But they were tested, right?
Yes.
So we have 3 slugs that were tested, but we can't tell came from any particular gun. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Okay. Does the proximity of this gun to Breasia Terrell's body mean anything to you as an investigator?
Yes.
What's it mean?
In my experience in murders or homicides that involve people with firearms and using them, common practice by these individuals is to discard the murder weapon, essentially. And by tossing it near where she was shot in a body of water would make maybe someone believe that they're not going to find it in a body of water. That's fairly hard to find.
It's common to ditch weapons in your training and experience in rivers, lakes, ponds, whatever, right?
Yes.
And they're difficult in your training and experience to recover in rivers and ponds and lakes, right?
Yes.
So the theory is that the crime scene is right there by Kunal Implement, that the shooter killed Breasia right there at Kunal Implement, right?
Yes.
Then promptly took the shot 3 times, first of all, right?
At least, yes.
Okay. And this gun, it's a revolver, so it's got a cylinder in it, right?
Yes.
And the cylinder holds how many cartridges?
I believe that one was 6 rounds.
So it's an old school 6-shooter, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to shoot a 6-shooter, you pull the trigger 6 times, and then the gun is empty, right?
Yes.
Can't shoot anymore until you eject all the cartridges.
Yes.
Okay. So she is shot at least 3 times, correct?
Yes.
We have no other evidence that she was shot more than that, though, do we?
We do not.
We didn't recover any other cartridges from the location, did we?
No.
We didn't find any casings at all, right?
No.
Does the significance of finding no casings at all mean anything to you?
No casings around where her remains are at?
Yes.
It would indicate that one is that revolver, and that's where the casings are, and that's what I would argue for that.
I'm sorry, let me understand that again.
So being that we didn't find any casings around where her remains were, one of 2 things could possibly be in that scenario. One, they were picked up by the individual who did this, or that when they discarded the weapon, they left the casings along with inside that revolver.
Okay, so if someone, I'm trying to understand here. If someone shot Breasia 3 times with a 6-shooter, there'd be 3 empty cartridges still in the revolver cylinder, right?
There would be.
And 3 live cartridges, right?
Not necessarily.
If it was fully loaded?
If it was fully loaded, yes.
And only the 3 shots were fired, right?
Yes.
So this firearm, when it was recovered, first of all, you're able to trace the history of a firearm, right?
Yes.
Were you able to trace the history of this firearm?
The dealer that sold it, they lost all their records, and that dealer was in Iowa City, and they're no longer in business, and so there is almost no paper trail for this firearm, unfortunately.
That dealer came out of Iowa City, doesn't know where he or she sold it?
They didn't have any of those records. They lost them in some sort of flood.
Okay. Are those not reported to the ATF?
They should be.
Did anybody check with the ATF?
We had connections there, and they were checked, and there was no documentation on the following of this firearm.
So the ATF didn't even have the record of the initial sale from the dealer to the person who bought it initially?
That was my understanding from the detective that did the firearm trace follow-up.
Okay, so when I go to buy a firearm, I have to fill out a form that says I'm buying this particular firearm. Is that your understanding?
Yes.
And I have to pass a background check, right?
Yes.
And that background check and this firearm then is sent off to the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, right?
I would imagine.
And you're telling me that the Department of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms was consulted and they had no records on that?
Is from the detective that did the trace, that is my understanding.
Okay. Who was that?
Detective Thomas.
Okay. So, assuming for a moment that Ms. Terrell was shot 3 times, and then the theory is then the gun's just thrown in the water, right?
Yes.
Can you think of any reason under that scenario where she shot 3 times that an individual would take 3 casings out of the gun and then reload the gun and throw it in the water?
So then it's full of 5 rounds, is that what you're...
Loaded full of 6 rounds of .38 Special.
I don't know what the purpose of that would be.
Doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
I mean, it makes no sense for you to load your gun and then toss it in the pond, right?
Correct.
In your investigation, you looked at photos of this gun, right?
Yes.
Tell me, how many rounds were in the cylinder?
There were 6 spent casings.
They were all spent?
Yeah.
Were there any live rounds with this gun?
No.
Did the DCI ever test fire this gun?
I believe so, yes.
They test fire the gun with the same ammunition?
that was found in the gun, well, that wouldn't be possible, but they used their own ammo. I don't know the process of that, but they used their own ammo.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got another 10 more minutes here. Would y'all like for me to end this and stop this and just show the body cam again? We can end off with that one, or just spend the last few minutes on this. Let me know in the chat what to do. Okay. Resume.
If there were 6 rounds of live ammunition seized in this case, of Winchester 38 Special plus P, you have any idea where that would have come from?
No.
In the search of Mr. Dinkins' apartment, was any Winchester 38 Special plus P recovered?
I do not believe so.
Was there any trace evidence able to be pulled off that weapon?
No.
Now, going back to the kind of the beginning, you interviewed DL, right?
Yes.
Now, kind of describe his demeanor, his behavior. He's kind of rambunctious, isn't he?
At times.
Kind of hyperactive at times.
I agree with that.
His mother called him a piece of work. Would you agree with that?
In my experiences with him, he can be a handful at times.
Okay, that's a good description. When you interviewed him that first time, he never told you he was present for the shooting of his sister, did he?
That is correct.
In fact, he's never told you, ever, that he was present for the shooting of his sister, did he?
That is correct.
He never told you that Andrea Culberson was present for the shooting of his sister, right?
That is correct as well.
Never at one point did he mention those facts, did he?
No.
Did he ever mention to you the bloody machete?
It's like half do, half don't. I'm going to put a poll up for it. I'm just going to put a poll and let y'all vote. Then we just see whatever wins the poll, we're going to go by that one. All right, let's get back to it.
Not to me, no.
So the first time you talked to him, he's not talking about a bloody machete, not talking about a pistol, right?
That is correct.
You are aware, however, that after Breasia was found, that Ms. Langford called Sergeant Pfeiffer and said that DL was now making an allegation that he was present for the shooting, right?
That is correct.
And that statement has kind of been disregarded as him overhearing the report from Sergeant Pfeiffer to Aisha as to how Breasia was killed, right?
When I was at the residence with Sergeant Pfeiffer, when we spoke with Aisha about the cause of death, and DL being in the house at that time, that's what we believe, or contributed that to be at that time.
So, given your investigation, your training, your experience, and you actually being there when you reported how Breasia had met her demise, you don't put any stock in DL actually being at the scene of Breasia Terrell's death, do you?
At that time, no. I'm sorry. Of him providing that statement and with the other statements he provided, we did not consider that to be the possibility.
Okay. He's given a number of contrasting statements, hasn't he?
He has.
Okay. So it's kind of hard to put the pieces together with the stories he's given you, isn't it?
With some, yes. With others, we were able to cooperate with video footage and cell phone records.
We'll talk about those. But the one thing he never told you was the bloody machete, right?
Correct.
How many opportunities has he had to tell you about the bloody machete?
My one-on-one interview with him was just on that one day, and then in passing when I would stop and speak with Aisha throughout the investigation. But the only time where I formally sat down and talked to him was that day.
Okay. Who did he tell the story of the bloody machete to?
I believe that was Detective Hamas.
Okay. Were you in the car with him ever during any of these drive-arounds?
On one of them, yes, on July 10th.
Okay. And on July 10th in the drive-around, he didn't mention anything about seeing a bloody machete, did he?
No.
And he never told you anything about stopping along a road and Mr. Dinkins getting out and pouring bleach along the road, did he?
That is correct.
He never even said that after he reported seeing his sister get shot, didn't he?
No.
So you're where he said that now. Right?
Is that what was testified to or during an interview?
No. Me telling you this today, if I told you he said that on the stand, that would be a surprise to you?
After consulting of this, yes, because it never was relayed to me.
Okay. How about Andrea Culberson? Did you interview her?
I'm sorry, I missed the question.
The question was, Andrea Culberson, did you interview her?
I did interview her.
Andrea Culberson never told you that she was present during the shooting of Breasia, right?
That is correct.
She did say she saw Breasia outside of her apartment at around 3:30 a.m., right?
Yes.
Did she ever say to you that she saw Breasia in the Impala at any point in time?
No.
Has any witness ever told you that they saw Breasia Terrell in that Impala after 3:30 a.m. on July 10th?
No.
So we have no eyewitness testimony putting her in that Impala?
That is correct.
We have no trace evidence putting her in that Impala, do we?
That is correct.
Now, did you communicate with the FBI lab and tell them that Breasia Terrell had been in that Impala?
No.
Did anybody from the Davenport Police Department, the collective group that you talked about earlier, tell the FBI lab that Breasia Terrell had been in that Impala?
Your Honor, I'm going to object. He's asking this witness to testify to something that he would have no knowledge of. Those are questions that should be asked of other individuals.
One moment. I'll overrule the objection. The witness may answer if he knows.
I can't say for certain if someone did tell them that. The only thing I know is that they at least tried gathering DNA to see if she was in it.
Do you know that the testing was limited in the Impala to blood and semen?
I do not know that off the top of my head.
In your training and experience as a detective, would you have, had it been your decision, recommended that any items of fabric or cutouts of a seat or carpet be tested for all type of DNA?
Yes.
Why?
To show that the individual was in that vehicle.
And you have yourself reviewed FBI reports in this matter?
I have reviewed some, yes.
And that's part of your investigation in this case?
Yes.
And you have seen the FBI lab reports regarding the Chevrolet Impala?
I have.
And are you aware from a review of those reports that there is no evidence of blood or semen from Breasia Terrell in that Impala?
That is correct.
Did you also note that no DNA was tested in that Impala?
No DNA is trace DNA?
Any DNA?
Any DNA. I'm not familiar with that. I'd have to look at that.
You would agree with me that the reports that you reviewed from the FBI were back in the hands of the Davenport Police Department no later than the 1st of October 2020?
The complete FBI lab discovery wasn't provided until later, so I don't know which of 2020 that would...
Well, let's say this. Let's use January 1, 2021. Would that be a fair date to say that the complete lab discovery from the FBI was back in your hands?
I have to refer to my report. I know where it's at. I can look it up real quick if that's...
Would that refresh your recollection if you did?
Yes.
Your Honor, may he refresh his recollection?
I'm sorry.
May he refresh his recollection?
He may.
In my report, it's February 1st of 2022 that I was given a flash drive of the complete FBI lab discovery.
Okay, so in that report, there's no DNA found in the Impala, right?
That's correct.
And the report also shows that only blood and semen was tested for in the Impala, right?
Yes.
So my question is, you never initiated a second request to have touch DNA or any other kind of DNA tested for in that Impala, right?
That'd be correct.
And that could have been done, right?
It could have been. Oh, yeah, it could have been, possibly.
You know, trace evidence was taken from the Impala, right?
Trace evidence such as hair and different things like that, is that what you're referring to?
Correct.
Yes.
And that wasn't requested by the Davenport Police Department to be tested either, right?
To be tested as in who the person that would have that hair belonged to?
Right.
No.
So there's evidence out there that could have been tested to see if Breasia Terrell was even in that Impala. That wasn't.
Okay, let's look at the vote. We got 19 votes, and it seems like they said show it. Okay, I'm gonna show this body cam. I think it's like about 10 minutes or something like that, and then we're gonna end off with that one because way past my time here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me set it up. Okay, I have the body cam. Alright, let's watch this body cam. Now the body cam right here is on regular speed. Let's get it.
Your mom? Okay. How do you spell it?
AISHIA.
Last name?
Langford, LA, NK, FORD.
Date of birth?
8/28 of 1991.
Address?
614 West 63rd Street, apartment number 1.
This is so awesome. Okay, so you said, I've been following this case for a while. I'm doing a report on this case for homework. Law school. Well, congratulations. All right. You picked a good one. Ooh, I would love to hear your report. If you want to share it with us, you can, if you like, or whatever. I'd love to know about it. Wow. All right, let's get back to it. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Let's resume.
Phone number?
563.
Yep.
676. 4247.
Okay. And Henry lives here.
Yeah, I guess so. This is where he told me to come.
Okay.
He don't even know how long she's even been gone.
Yeah. What's your daughter's name?
Breasia, BREA.
EA.
SIA.
BREASIA?
Yes.
Okay.
Terrell, TEELL.
Okay. What's your middle initial?
D.
Her date of birth?
12/4/09.
Okay. What's up, Henry? So when was the last time you saw her?
She was in the house.
Yeah, when was the last time you saw her?
9:30.
Last night?
9:30.
Okay. Okay.
With him.
Okay. When was the last time you saw her?
She was in the bed when I
She was in the bed?
Yeah.
When you went to bed last night? Okay.
This is crazy, man. This is like, you know what I'm saying? I know she fucking going fucking hysterical, big brother.
Yeah. DIN.
KINS.
Your date of birth, Henry?
August 2nd, 72.
What do ladies see in him? He sound like his lungs are so full of weed. Can't understand what he's saying. He sounds congested all day, every day. He got a mouth full of gold. Take it out, his teeth is rotten. But he think he's fine. Outside with a do-rag. Clown.
Is this your home address?
No.
What's your address?
It's down by Boston Marina.
Just a guy, just.
Yeah, I just know down.
You don't know your
I don't know the
address?
full address.
Do you know your phone number?
Hell no, I don't even know that either. I swear to God, I don't.
Henry, you don't know where your daughter is, you don't know your address, and you don't know your phone number.
No, for real. I'm finna
So,
give it to you now. You think I'll be lying, but
well, no, it's just it's kind of.
because I don't call myself.
No, but you gotta know your number. You gotta know your address.
I don't.
So this is your girlfriend's address here?
This is Fred.
Okay.
Okay, here go my phone right here.
Okay, what was she last wearing?
In the bed.
What she have on? Some shorts?
What color?
I don't remember. I mean, I'm not gonna even lie to you. I don't
What's
remember.
her height and weight, you think?
She's a little taller than he is.
Okay.
She's a little taller than that.
Okay. What's her hair look like?
She had dreads. Long.
Dreads.
Long.
Long and dreads hair?
Yep.
Like shoulder length or
Down.
middle of the back?
Down here.
Okay. Mid back, dreads. Right? Is that how we would label that?
Yes.
She had shorts on.
Did she still have a white shirt on?
She had she had the shirt that you gave her.
The white shirt.
All white?
All white t-shirt, yep.
Don't leave this room until it's perfectly clear.
And you guys don't have alarms or anything on your doors if the door's open? No. Okay. And listen, I know this sounds dumb. I've lost my kids too. Okay. Actually, mine just happened last week, and we went back in and we found them in the bedroom.
No, we just searched.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to who have you called? What doors have you knocked on?
I don't know these people out here.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I called her.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And she told me she was at work. At first, I was riding around looking. And then me and my son started riding around looking.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And then,
So how long ago has it been? An hour?
It's been a couple hours.
Couple hours?
Couple hours.
Okay.
Couple hours.
Have we called grandmas? Have we called cousins?
That's what I just asked. She's the one. I don't know all that. She knows all that.
She called my grandma already.
She knows all that, not me.
Okay. Do we have a picture?
She does.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. She got the picture, bro.
Who's the girl that lives here? Andrea. What's Andrea's last name? Culberson.
He need a picture of her.
You don't have nothing with you right now. Okay, that's fine. Have we called family?
I've called everybody. I have my uncle out riding around. My mom's on her way out here. My friends on their way out here.
We've been every fucking where.
And she's gonna be with a friend inside some apartment.
That's
most
why
likely.
I said I'm gonna still look.
Okay.
We don't know anybody out here though. That's the thing.
Okay.
She would have never.
How many?
She would have never. First of all, she would have never woke up at 8 o'clock in the morning, and she would have never.
What you mean? 8 o'clock in the morning.
I'm just saying.
That ain't what I said. I never said.
I know you
guys,
didn't say that.
this isn't the time to fight.
Exactly. I don't give a fuck about you walking, nigga. You lost her though.
How did I fucking lose?
Because you was watching her, Henry. What the fuck do you mean?
But hey,
I'm gone, sir. Come on, D.
listen to me.
Fuck that. I'm gone.
Well, you got.
When I first seen his body cam and I see the way she carried on like that, I was done with her. I just couldn't believe that. She just walked. She said, F this, and she out of here. Come on, DL. Wow. Poor officer. All right, let's get back to it.
You guys gotta come together right now. This isn't a time to fight about it. Okay? So, well, hey, if you... Well, how am I supposed to... What do you want me to do?
I got everything, bro. I got everything. You see how she stepped on me? You know what I'm saying?
I got no picture. I got no... What do you want me to do?
What am I supposed to do?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
All I have to do is
Henry,
look.
I get it.
All I can do is look.
I get it, Henry. Henry.
Yeah, who would lay down with this thing? I just don't understand it. Something wrong with these women. That low self-esteem will do you in, boy. Resume.
Let's go inside the apartment one more time. Look, this happens more often than you think. I mean, well, I understand why she's upset. But when I'm trying to help, she can't run away from me.
You can't
I don't want
and deal with the issue.
Yes.
You got to keep a level head.
Yeah.
You know that. I learned that a long time ago. Fuck, man.
104 and 105.
How many times have you guys stayed out here?
How many times have I been out here? The kids, this is their first time.
Oh, it's the very first time she's ever stayed here. And so
She's been over here, but they never stayed.
she has never stayed here.
Like I said,
So I wonder just.
this is such a small.
We got.
She's not in our list.
Hey guys, I'm Kyle Richards from The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
I'm fucking mad. She's gonna open the door, man. She's gonna open.
What?
Now this is when Henry go ghost.
Hi there. Are you Andrea?
Yes.
Okay, Andrea. What's your date of birth, Andrea? So tell me about, like, when was the last time you saw her?
She was here.
When?
What time was I? I fell asleep like around 11 midnight. She was here. She was in bed sleeping.
Okay. And you guys never heard her come down, walk out? There's no forced entry or anything like that?
No forced entry.
Okay. Do you mind if I just come in and take a quick look? I'm not concerned about anything else. I just want to come in because probably 50% of the time we still find them inside the place when this happens. And
Well, I kind of do mind my face kind of wreck right now.
what's that?
My face is kind of in a wreck.
Listen, I go in all sorts of places. I don't care how big.
Is he aware of this?
What's that?
Is he aware of this?
Yeah.
This place is yours, and there's a child missing. You worried about your place is a wreck, and then you talk about, is he aware of this? Who cares if he's aware of it? Something about this doesn't make sense. Resume.
What's her name again? Was there any fights or arguments or anything last night? Bree is her name? Where was she sleeping at? Your bed? So where were you guys sleeping at last night? You guys slept out here? Can you look in the closet again? Huh?
That's all clothes.
I know, I'm just telling you, you'd be surprised what we've...
I know, right?
So she was sleeping in the bed with her brother? And you guys slept out here? Okay. What time did you guys wake up?
Now, I was still asleep. I don't know what time everybody else got up.
Well, what time did you wake up?
Oh, goodness, honestly, I cannot remember what time.
Okay, like 30 minutes ago, 2 hours ago? 2 hours ago? Okay. Hey, does she have any friends out here? Like, has she ever played with any of the neighbors? Okay, are you going to come out and help look or not?
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the body cam. You know what, Andrea, you really need to be on the next episode of For My Man. Because everything you just said in this body cam is completely different what you said on the stand. There's more to it, and it's sad that this woman got away with it. But she's going to live a life of heck. Because people seeing this, it's all over the social media, all over the news. They see the trial, and they're going to see her when she go to a local store just to go and get some milk. She's going to have problems. She try to order Uber, she's going to have problems. Whatever job that she's going to be at, she's going to have problems. No, she's still at the, what she said, Verizon, AT&T? I can't remember what she said she's working at. So, they're going to know this. This is ridiculous. Really is. Completely. Yeah, put on the next episode of For My Man. I can't stand her. Oh my gosh. Where is she? I don't have the picture of the girl. Alright, whatever. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this here. Thank you for being here. This was a long one. Thank you for being here. Thank you for engaging. I'll do something Friday, maybe in the morning when it's live. If not, it will be the recap. Oh, it's AT&T. It'll be the no, Donna, don't end the live. Take a poll. What? Well, you said more 20. Oh gosh, it's getting a little late on my end. But Friday, we do something on the Friday. So Friday will go from there. So most likely in the evening, because I'm not quite sure what time it starts in the morning. I think they said 9, but I don't know. Is it Eastern, Central? I don't know. Anybody know? Put in the chat. If not, if you find out later, you could put it in the comment section or whatever and go from there. And thank you. Shout out to the mods. Thank you so much. Thank you for helping this evening. I appreciate it. All right. So everybody had themselves a blessed night and a safe night. And let me see. Okay, everybody say good night. All right. Let's have a moment of silence for this angel right here and put out a bunch of purple hearts for her. That was her favorite color. You're safe right now. God has you. No harm will happen to you ever again. And justice will be served. It will be served. And prayers to DL that that the mother, the grandmother, whoever is consistent about getting him therapy, because that young boy needs help. He's going to need therapy. And not no 2 months, 1 session a week or whatever. He needs to go. Okay? All right, moment of silence, ladies and gentlemen.